How could something as innocent as this children's game be turned into something as evil as this? Well, when you're desperate and poor, you will do anything for money. And that is the premise of today's show. That's right. Today, we're recapping Squid Game. The Korean sensation that basically put K-dramas in the mainstream, Squid Game needs no introduction. Whether you've never seen it because K-dramas aren't your thing, or you just want to relive the incredible story, this video is for you. So, without further ado, let's just dive in. Our story begins as many others do, with a flashback of children. In it, kids are playing the Squid Game, while a narrator explains it. Basically, Squid Game is a kids' game, played largely in Korea, on a dirt court shaped like a squid, hence the name. The players can either be attackers or defenders, with the attackers trying to make it to the home area inside the squid's head, while the defenders do everything they can to block or push these attackers out. If an attacker manages to get into the squid's head, they can go for the winning spot and claim victory. The whole thing sounds simple until you realize how it connects to the rest of the show, but that's for later. For now, we switch gears and meet our main character, Seong Gi-hun. It's his daughter Ga-young's birthday today, and Gi-hun's mom gives him some money to take her out for dinner later. Gi-hun argues that it's not enough, so his mom gives him some more. When she leaves for work, Gi-hun then swipes his mom's credit card too. So, he's a scumbag? Together with his friend, he guesses his mom's ATM pin and takes out even more money so he can gamble it on horses. Yep, he's a scumbag. After losing money on his first race, Gi-hun uses his daughter's birth date as a gambling cue, and wouldn't you know it, it works. He wins a lot of money and is super happy about it. He even tips the lady at the counter. Sweet.
A little something for you. Thanks again.
What do I get?
He then calls his daughter, telling her to get ready for a big surprise after school. He's gonna take her someplace nice. Unfortunately, that's when some men show up looking for Gi-hun. Turns out, being a degenerate gambler often makes you borrow money from evil loan sharks. And now, these loan sharks need their money back. Gi-hun sees the debt collectors and makes a run for it, bumping into a girl along the way. He runs some more, but gets cornered in the bathroom. There, the loan shark asks for his money back, so Gi-hun says he'll pay him everything he won, only to realize the girl he bumped into robbed him. God damn it! The loan sharks start torturing him, and Gi-hun starts crying. So the sharks show Gi-hun some pity and leave him be. Psych. They actually make him sign a declaration that says Gi-hun's kidney and eye will belong to them if he doesn't pay them by next month. After that, Gi-hun sheepishly goes to the lady at the desk and asks for the tip back. That's so pathetic. Later, with the help of another kid, Gi-hun manages to get a gift for his daughter. At least he has something to give her. After that, Gi-hun takes his daughter to lunch at a small cafe. It's all he can afford. It's clear Gi-hun has been through a divorce, and both his wife and daughter are now living with a much wealthier man. Still, his daughter, Ga-young, loves her dad and is having a good time with him. Gi-hun then gives her the gift, which is a lighter shaped like a gun. But then his adult senses kick in and he decides to hang on to it until she's older. He also promises her that he will quit smoking for her. Yeah, right. Ga-young then almost says something but decides against it, and Gi-hun promises to get her a better gift next year. Later, he carries her back home, gets yelled at by his ex-wife, and misses his train. This guy can't catch a break. That's when something weird happens. A snazzy, hot-looking stranger in a suit sits next to him and offers him a deal. He challenges Gi-hun to a game of dakji. Basically, you take turns trying to flip each other's paper tile with your own. Super simple stuff. The hot guy promises to give Gi-hun 100 grand for every round if he wins. But Gi-hun has to pay the same amount too if he loses. And Gi-hun can have the first turn. Gi-hun, being the gambling addict that he is, agrees, and loses immediately. With no money to hand over, the hot guy suggests another form of payment, a tight, hard-hitting slap. Gi-hun agrees, and the montage of this hottie just smacking whatever dignity Gi-hun had left out of him begins. He slaps Gi-hun over and over until Gi-hun's face is redder than a freaking tomato. But then, surprisingly, Gi-hun manages to win a round. He gets ready to slap the hot guy, but the guy stops him and gives him 100 grand. He then tells Gi-hun he knows all about him. He's broke, divorced, and in debt. He then says that there's a way to make a lot more money from playing similar games, and gives Gi-hun his card. On his way back, Gi-hun buys some fish from a nice old lady and gives some of it to a stray cat. I guess he's a degenerate gambler, but he's not a bad person. The next day, Gi-hun gives his mom some of the money he earned, but then he gets hit with some bad news. Turns out, Ga-young, her mom, and her stepdad are all moving to the USA, and unless Gi-hun gets some good money, he won't be able to stop them. Later that night, Gi-hun thinks about how much his daughter means to him. He'll do anything to keep her around. So, he calls the number on the hot man's card and agrees to participate in the shady games that he mentioned. Gi-hun then goes to the pickup spot, gets in a weird-ass car, and is immediately knocked out by sleeping gas. This doesn't look good. When he wakes up, he's in a bed surrounded by hundreds of other beds with hundreds of other people. All of them are wearing green jumpsuits. And all of these jumpsuits have a unique number. Gi-hun's number is 456, which makes him the very last participant in the game. Gi-hun starts talking to one, a poor old man with a brain tumor. Damn. But their conversation is cut short by a fight. Number 67. This girl is being beat up by 101. Yep, they clearly have some history together. What's more, 67 happens to be the girl that stole Gi-hun's money. Small world, I guess. Gi-hun gets in there and asks 67 for his money back, while also protecting her from 101. 101 is in the mood for a fight, so he's about to whoop Gi-hun's ass when, suddenly, they walk in.
I would like to extend a heartfelt welcome to you all.
Aura farming for real. By they, I mean these pink tracksuit, black mask wearing guys, and they do not look friendly. They explain what's happening. Every single person in the room is on the brink of financial ruin, so they're being given a shot at financial freedom. The stakes are simple. Play 6 games over 6 days, and whoever wins all 6 games gets a metric frick ton of money. My competitive ass would immediately sign up, debt or no debt. The man in the tracksuit that's explaining all this gives everyone a chance to back out of these shady games, but no one does. So, they all begin signing papers and having their pictures taken, making their way over to the first game. Oh, and there's only one way to stop the games: if a majority of the players vote to do so. This will be super important later. Anyway, all the players step out into the field, where Gi-hun notices number 218 as Sung-woo, someone he not only knows, but someone he thought was financially stable. Not everything you see on Instagram is true, silly Gi-hun. Actually, nothing is. Anyway, Sung-woo just says that he'll talk about his financial stuff later. Meanwhile, the leader of everything, aka the front man, is watching from behind the scenes. He then attends a call, tells the person on the other side to begin the game, and sits down to watch. Yep, this guy's the devil, alright. The contestants then see a large girl doll at the other end of the arena, and an AI voice explains the rules over a loudspeaker. So basically, they'll be playing red light, green light. The game is simple. Move when the doll says green light, stop when it says red light, and anyone caught moving will be eliminated. You just have to reach where the dolly is within 5 minutes. Hearing this, players 250 and 324 decide to bet on who will get to the end first. So the game starts, and 324 runs forward, but doesn't stop after the doll says red light. There's a loud bang, and 324 drops to the floor. Jesus Christ! That's when another contestant gets shot for moving after red light, and everyone realizes what's happening. If you lose a game, you don't get eliminated. You get eliminated. Oh, wow. People immediately start panicking and running to the doors, trying to escape, but there's no way out, and they all get gunned down. Gi-hun, Won, Sung-woo, and a few others manage to keep their calm and stand still. So after all the runners get gunned down, they start playing the game again. With Sung-woo's help, Gi-hun starts moving toward the line, while 6-7 tries to sabotage 101 but fails. Toward the end, Sung-woo makes it, but Gi-hun slips on another person's body, only to be saved by number 199. Damn, what a guy! Together, they manage to cross the finish line just as the time expires. They have survived, for now. That's when the roof on them closes, and we see where they really are, on an island. And no one is coming to save them. Jeez, how's that for an opener? Episode 2 kicks off with the guards cremating the bodies of the dead players, as well as the ones who aren't dead yet. Yeesh. We then cut to the warehouse where all the players are. Gi-hun thanks Sung-woo and 199 for saving him out there. He'd be dead without them. That's when the guards come in and announce the results of the last game. 255 players were eliminated. That's when a bunch of players start begging. They want to leave this hellhole ASAP. They may be broke, but they don't want to die. The guards remind them that the game can't be stopped, but Sung-woo reminds them that it can, if the majority votes for it. Smart guy. The guard agrees to hold a vote, but before that, he reveals the prize money from the first game. So, what is it? Nothing much. Just 100 million per dead contestant, totaling to 25.5 billion Korean won. The guard says that, if they choose to leave, the money will be split up and sent to the families of the dead people. But if they stay, they have a shot at 45.6 billion won. With that, the voting starts. Gi-hun goes first and votes to end the game. The voting goes on and it's going neck and neck. Arguments happen, people fight, it's all chaotic. And surprisingly, Sung-woo votes to continue the games. Dang, he must be really desperate. Suddenly, we see that it's tied at 100 apiece, with the last voter being the old man, 1. After a suspenseful pause, he chooses to end the game. Phew. The 100 that voted to continue beg for the games to continue, but the guards just say if they really want to play, they'll surely have another chance. With that, Gi-hun and 6-7 are tied up and thrown on a random street. Gi-hun helps her get free. She helps him, and they both go their separate ways. Meanwhile, Sung-woo and 199 get released together, and 199 is like the final boss of being broke. So Sung-woo gets him food, gives him his phone to make a call, and also gives him some money to grab a bus. Sung-woo may be in hella debt, but he's still a cutie patootie. Meanwhile, Gi-hun is at the police station, reporting everything that happened. Here's the problem though. Saying people made you play a kid's game for money, killed the losers, and then just let you go when you said so is a pretty unbelievable story. The police think he's crazy. So Gi-hun gets mad and hands the police officer the card with the number on it. The policeman dials it, only for some random lady to pick up.
You want to play games? Go to an internet cafe. What's wrong with you freaking pervert?
So they throw Gi-hun out of the station. Gi-hun tries calling the number himself, but gets no answer. He's been duped. However, another police officer seems interested in Gi-hun's story and the mysterious card. Meanwhile, Sung-woo is trying to find the courage to speak to his mother, the same lady Gi-hun bought fish from. When Gi-hun sees him, they talk, and Sung-woo tells him the truth. He's 6 billion in debt, and he even leveraged his mother's shop in the process. Ay. That's when Gi-hun gets a call. His mom is in the hospital. He goes there and finds out she's diabetic. If she doesn't get treated soon, they'll have to amputate her foot. Gi-hun tries getting his mom to stay in the hospital, but she can't. If she did, they'd have no way to pay the rent. And with no insurance, they can't afford the hospital bills anyway. Gi-hun, now crying, says he'll make all the money his mom needs. Oh boy. Meanwhile, the police officer from earlier is investigating a disappeared persons case. He goes to their apartment and finds something shocking. The same card Gi-hun had. We then see 6-7, aka Kang Se-byuk, sitting with a kid. Turns out, this kid is her little brother, Cheol. Basically, Se-byuk and Cheol escaped from North Korea, but their parents are still there. Se-byuk is trying everything she can to save them, but it's expensive as hell. That's why she needs the money. She promises Cheol she'll make it happen, and the siblings hug each other. Aww. Meanwhile, the police officer, aka Detective Hwang Jun-ho, goes back to the police station and asks about Gi-hun. He needs to talk to him about the card. Later, we see number 199, whose name is Ali. Ali has been working at a factory for some time now, but the manager refuses to pay him. Ali is mad, and he gets even more mad when he sees the bastard does have money. He's just keeping it all to himself. Naturally, they get into a scuffle, which leads to the manager's hand getting crushed in a machine. Ali doesn't care though. He just takes the money and runs. While that's happening, Se-byuk goes to an agency that rescues people from North Korea. She's been paying a broker to look for her mom so they can rescue her too, and she's hoping for some good news, only to find out that her broker stole her money and ran away. Jesus Christ! The other guy says she'll need 40 million won to save her mom, so Se-byuk agrees, on the condition that she'll kill him if he tries any funny business with her. She's intense, isn't she? I love it. Meanwhile, Sung-woo calls his mom, who thinks he's on a business trip to the United States. But as soon as she cuts the call, policemen show up and tell her the truth. Sung-woo's committed hella financial fraud, and the police are after him. Poor old lady. Later, we see Sung-woo, who is drowning in his sorrows Joji style, when he gets a knock on the door. He goes there and sees something slid under his door. It's another card for the games. Here we go again. Meanwhile, Ali hands his wife the money he got from his manager. He tells her to go back to Pakistan and take their kid with her. He'll follow them when he finishes up his work. Yeah, right. As that happens, we see Gi-hun begging for some money from his friend for his mom's surgery, but his friend refuses, so Gi-hun goes to drink his problems away too, and runs into Won. They sit down and share drinks and snacks as they talk. Won tells Gi-hun that he's decided to go back to the games. He doesn't have much time left, and he doesn't want to die like a coward. As he puts it, it's better in there than out here. We then see number 101, Jang Deok-soo, who's meeting up with an old gang member. Deok-soo tells him about the games and says he has a plan. He and his buddies go in together, take over the games, and steal the money. Unfortunately, Deok-soo is in a lot of debt, and his buddies are kinda done with him. So, they double-cross him and report him to his debt collectors. Sheesh. Luckily, Deok-soo kills his supposed friend before jumping into the water to escape. Jesus Christ, everyone is struggling out here. Later, we see a desperate Gi-hun going to his ex-wife to ask her for money. She says she doesn't have any of her own. All the money she gets is from her current husband. That's when her husband comes back with Ga-young and his other kid.
You're going?
Yeah, I have an important meeting to go to.
Gaia, bye now.
Seeing them, Gi-hun immediately puts on his shoes and leaves. But her ex-wife's husband follows him outside and gives him the money for his mom's surgery. Gi-hun thanks him, saying he'll pay it back, but the dude just says there's no need for that. He would just love it if Gi-hun stops contacting them instead. This makes Gi-hun lose his mind. He smacks the dude and throws the money back on him. Unfortunately, Ga-young was watching this whole thing, and she's horrified. Damn. Later, Gi-hun is headed home when he's stopped by Jun-ho. Turns out, the guy this cop dude was looking for was his own brother, and he needs Gi-hun's help in finding him. With nothing else to do and nowhere to go, Gi-hun, Sung-woo, Sae-byuk, Deok-soo, Won, and Ali head to the pickup points to be taken away for the game. But this time, Jun-ho is following the car Gi-hun is in. That's not all though, because Sae-byuk managed to hold her breath long enough to avoid the sleeping gas thing in the van. She's wide awake. Things are about to get spicy. The next episode starts with Jun-ho chasing the cars with the Squid Game contestants in them. He follows them to the harbor, where they're being loaded onto a ship. So Jun-ho tells his boss he's not going to be at work today, and hides under one of the cars. He has no idea what he's about to get into. Now on the boat, Jun-ho begins investigating the bodies when the guards show up. He tries hiding among the players, but the guards are verifying their identities. When Jun-ho gets caught, he has no choice but to attack and end the guard. He then steals the guard's outfit, dumps his body in the ocean with his police ID, and blends in with the rest of the guards. He's going undercover. After that, the guards bring all the players to a warehouse, where they change them and remove their belongings. Yeesh. But Sae-byuk, as you remember, is awake. She uses the guard's pocket to hide a knife, which she swipes back before he leaves. She's got a weapon now. Gi-hun wakes up Old Man Won. He then runs into Sang-woo and Ali. Together, all four of them decide to form a team.
So then, you'll be the new recruit. He's the skilled corporal.
And that means I'm sergeant.
It's better to have someone watching your back. Pretty smart if you ask me. Meanwhile, Deok-soo has teamed up with a bunch of lowlifes like himself, and he's trying to recruit Sae-byuk. She tells Deok-soo to go through himself, and they're about to fight, until contestant 212 pops up, asking to be Deok-soo's teammate, to which he just says some and moves on, asshole. Then it's time for lunch, and Gi-hun's team enjoys their meal while talking, but Sang-woo is locked in. He only cares about the games. While that's happening, all the pink jumpsuit guards go to their rooms, and Jun-ho does his best to blend in. He's not a fan of the fact that he doesn't get to take his mask off, except for meals, but he'll do what he has to do. Later that night, player 212 starts causing a ruckus. She has to go to the bathroom. After threatening to do it inside the warehouse, the guard agrees to take her. Sae-byuk jumps in, saying she has to go too, but you see, 212 didn't have to pee. She just wanted to smoke. Jeez. Where did she get the cigarettes, you ask? Well, she was hiding them inside herself. Yeah, not even gonna touch that. That's when Sae-byuk shows up with her knife. She makes a deal with 212. She buys Sae-byuk time to go up the shaft and investigate, and Sae-byuk will tell her what she finds. 212 agrees and helps Sae-byuk into the vent. 212 makes a big ruckus while Sae-byuk is inside the vent, buying her time. Sae-byuk chugs along, looking through the vents. She eventually makes it to what I can only describe as a kitchen. There, the guards are stirring big pots and adding sugar into them. They're definitely cooking something. Se-byuk manages to get back by the time the guard bursts into the bathroom. Sang-woo notices the duo as they come back. He's keeping an eye on Se-byuk now. Meanwhile, Jun-ho types everything he learned into his notes app and goes to sleep. The next morning, Jun-ho wakes up and gets dressed, ready for another day of impersonation. But the guy next door is looking at him funny. He's suspicious. Oh boy. Meanwhile, Se-byuk tells 212 what she saw, and then it's time for breakfast. Sang-woo and Gi-hun hand over their breakfast to Ali, who's really hungry and really grateful. That's when an announcement happens. It's time for the next game. Here we go. Meanwhile, a player in glasses is eating his breakfast when he finds a note hidden in it. Huh? Anyway, after breakfast, all the players are heading towards the game. That's when Sang-woo catches up to Se-byuk and asks her what she saw. As they talk, they enter a playground with 4 shapes on the wall in front of them. Se-byuk doesn't really want to tell Sang-woo anything, but he says he could help her guess the next game if she does. So she tells him about the sugar and the cooking, and Sang-woo instantly realizes what it is after seeing the shapes. It's honeycomb. Basically, you select a shape, and then you have to carve it out of a cookie. If the cookie breaks, you die. But Sang-woo doesn't tell this to his teammates, and picks the easiest shape, aka the triangle.
There's a saying in investing. Try not to keep your eggs in the same basket.
What a rat bastard. Ali gets the circle, One gets the star, and poor Gi-hun gets stuck with the hardest shape, the umbrella. And with that, the game begins. Gi-hun is so screwed. Everyone starts chipping away at their shapes, and it's a peaceful start until someone messes up and gets shot in the head. After that, everyone starts panicking, and people start getting shot left and right. Still, Se-byuk, Sang-woo, the guy with the glasses from earlier, and 212 all managed to complete their shapes. It wasn't fair though. Se-byuk and Sang-woo knew what the game was. 212 was using her lighter to heat up her needle, and the glasses guy got a note in his breakfast telling him what the game was. Hell, some guards even escort this dude to a private place. What the hell is going on? As that happens, Jun-ho gets an earful for not carrying out his duty, before the supervisor asks him to stay back after the game. They're gonna have a word. Yikes. Meanwhile, Gi-hun is struggling with his cookie when his sweat drops on the cookie. He then comes up with a plan. All he has to do is lick the cookie and make it softer. While he licks away, 212 drops her lighter for Deok-soo as she leaves, and he happily accepts. Why is she helping this dirtbag? What is wrong with her? Meanwhile, everyone sees Gi-hun licking his cookie and decide to play copycat. As time ticks down, Deok-soo and One complete their shapes, and as the timer hits 1 second, Gi-hun gets done with his. Phew, that was way too close. The winners get escorted away while the losers get shot. One of the losers isn't too happy about that and tries staging a resistance. He manages to take down 2 guards and take down 1 hostage, but pretty soon he's surrounded. So he tells his hostage to take off his mask. After seeing it's a kid, the poor bastard just takes his own life. The front man then comes and shoots the guard. As he puts it, if they find out who you are, you're dead. Something tells me that's gonna come up later. The episode kicks off with cheating glasses man, aka number 111, being escorted somewhere, and it looks like the guards are helping him hide. Meanwhile, the players return to their warehouse, and Sang-woo is grateful to see Gi-hun alive, which is funny because he basically sent Gi-hun to die, jackass. Anyway, we then get the results of the Honeycomb. 79 contestants dead, prize pot now at 34.8 billion won. It's time for lunch now, and 212 is getting real buddy-buddy with Deok-soo and his lackeys. Together, they steal 5 other contestants' lunches. When the poor bastard confronts them, Deok-soo literally beats him to death in front of the guards, who do nothing. Gi-hun tries complaining, but the only thing that happens is the number of contestants goes down, and the prize pot goes to 34.9 billion won. Jesus Christ, these guys are sick. Meanwhile, Jun-ho realizes that the guys with the square masks are the ones in charge, so he swipes the square mask off the dead guard and basically gives himself a promotion. Meanwhile, we see where the guards took player 111 to extract organs from the dead players. Yep, it's getting darker and darker with each episode. Sang-woo realizes what this means. Killing each other is allowed, so he tells his team to not sleep tonight.
Sorry, but you really can't go to sleep after lights out. Understand?
Why?
Deok-soo and his cronies are gonna attack everyone. Gi-hun heads over to Se-byuk and offers a spot on his team. She refuses at first, saying she won't trust anyone. But Gi-hun says she has to. After all, she has no one else. Meanwhile, 111 gets a tip from the guards. There's gonna be a fight tonight. They then give him an egg, with the info of the next game hidden inside. How do you hide something in an egg though? Did the chicken eat the note? I'm very confused. Anyway, 111 heads back to the warehouse and bribes Deok-soo with info on the next game. Meanwhile, Jun-ho is doing his best to act as a square guard. Lights out happens and the fighting begins. Deok-soo and his lackeys start it, and pretty soon it's all chaos. People are getting stabbed, beds are falling. It's a mess. Se-byuk manages to fend off Deok-soo and his goons, and joins Gi-hun and the others. They can't find the old man though. Gi-hun's team gets ready to fight Deok-soo, when one starts screaming for everyone to stop. Seeing this, the front man decides it's enough, and sends in the guards. The guards come in and shoot at the roof, stopping the chaos. They confiscate all the weapons and start rounding up the dead. During all this, Jun-ho asks Gi-hun about his brother, but Gi-hun doesn't know anything about him. What he does know now is that a guard is acting super sus. Meanwhile, Gi-hun and his teammates are all exchanging names, except for one, who can't remember his name. Poor guy. Back with Deok-soo, the doctor patches up an injury he got in the fight. Afterwards, Deok-soo and 212 get freaky in the bathroom, and promise not to betray each other till the end. Yeah, right. Later that night, Jun-ho is taking notes when he hears his neighbor coughing. That's when Jun-ho realizes it's not coughing, it's Morse code. He begins writing it down. This is getting spicy. The next day, everyone wakes up and it's time for the next game again. This time, they have to make teams of 10. Sang-woo suggests everyone go out and find a man to join the team. Gi-hun makes a case for having girls, but Sang-woo shoots it down. So he's a dirtbag and a noted. Meanwhile, Deok-soo has the same approach as Sang-woo, which means 212, aka Han Min-yao, gets binned. Min-yao literally gets on her knees and begs Deok-soo to help her, but he just pushes her off. Didn't even take him 24 hours to betray her. Meanwhile, everyone but one found a teammate, and Se-byuk even recruited a girl. They're at 9 teammates, until Min-yao shows up and says she's their 10th member, which is super annoying. Time expires, and that's their team. The players make their way to the next room, where they find out the game, Tug of War. Oh boy, we're screwed. Deok-soo's team is up first, and they absolutely demolish the other team, sending them falling to their deaths. The guards, including Jun-ho, start moving the bodies, when Jun-ho's neighbor dude writes something on one of the boxes. It's a message. As Jun-ho chases down that lead, it's Gi-hun and his team's turn to play. They get paired up with a team full of guys, and they're ready to give up until one starts talking.
Tug of war needs more than just raw strength.
Turns out he was a tug-of-war beast in his day, and he knows how to win. He shares his techniques with everyone, and they use his game plan. It starts out pretty good. They have the other team on the ropes. Pun very much intended. But the other team then locks in, and they're struggling. With no other choice, Sang-woo has an idea. He tells everyone to take 3 steps forward. After some infighting, they all agree, and the episode ends with them stepping forward. Damn! The following episode begins with Gi-hun's team taking 3 steps forward, which completely throws the other team off balance. They then use this to their advantage, pulling with everything they have, and it works. The downside is they now have to deal with the fact they killed 10 people, but hey, pros and cons, right? Right. Anyway, on their way back, the new girl, aka number 240, starts teasing one of the new guys on the team for praying, but Se-byuk just shuts them all up. Meanwhile, some of the guards continue their body swiping operation, and are waiting for player 111, aka the doctor. Meanwhile, Gi-hun's team heads back to the warehouse, and Deok-soo is surprised to see they're all alive. Gi-hun's team then decides to set up a barricade, in case the evil losers try attacking them again. Smart. Deok-soo comes over to tell Gi-hun that this barricade ain't gonna stop him, but Gi-hun gives him a reality check. Deok-soo's team is full of evil pricks just like him, and they won't hesitate to stab him in the back after he gets done with taking care of everyone else. So, Deok-soo decides against attacking Gi-hun's team, for now. Gi-hun's team then decides to take turns keeping watch at night, with Sang-woo and Ali going first. They share some food and bond over being broke. Real. Meanwhile, Jun-ho gets into the room where the guards and player 111 are removing organs from dead players. But that's not all. Turns out, the square guard Jun-ho is impersonating fascinating is a diver that delivers these organs somewhere else, and now Jun-ho has to do it. Oh boy. A bit later, Sang-woo wakes up Gi-hun. It's his turn to guard them. Gi-hun is accompanied by Won, but he's focused on something else. Gi-hun then remembers a riot, with police beating up his friends. Turns out it was from a strike he and his friends went on 10 years ago. They all got fired, so they held a protest. The protest turned violent. People died, and it still haunts Gi-hun to this day. He's telling all this to Won, who suddenly grabs his own head.
You're burning up.
No, it's fine. I'm fine.
One has a fever. No! As the guards continue their organ stealing, Gi-hun gets Won to a bed and, with the help of Se-byuk, manages to get his fever down. Meanwhile, Jun-ho is doing the worst thing you can when fitting in. He asks a question. He almost gets caught, but the doctor has a crash out and everyone drops it. For now. While Gi-hun and Se-byuk bond over treating the old man, Jun-ho gets ready to deliver the organs to the buyers. The doctor then asks what the next game is, and the guards say they don't know yet. They promise to get the info to him tomorrow, but the doc just flips out and holds his scalpel to the guard's throat. Even Bugs Bunny can't figure out what's up with this doc. While the doc threatens the guards, Jun-ho is following his partner, who takes him to a secret passageway. Meanwhile, the guards try to pull a fast one on the doctor, so he stabs one of them to death and makes a run for it. While that happens, Jun-ho's partner finally confronts him with a knife. The policeman was acting a little too suspicious, so Jun-ho takes off his mask and reveals his face, before pointing a gun right back at him. He's so cool. Jun-ho is convinced the guards killed his missing brother, but the other guy swears it wasn't them. Meanwhile, the guard chasing the doc manages to convince him to drop the crowbar and calm down. Unfortunately, it's a double cross, because he has a knife. He's about to stab the doctor when, bang! The guard gets shot, and the shooter is the front man. Meanwhile, the other guard tells Jun-ho where he can find info on all the players.
And I'll give you all the money I got selling organs!
So Jun-ho shoots his evil ass and makes his way back. Badass. Back with the doctor, the front man says he doesn't care if the guards sell organs or whatever, but they made one grave mistake. They made the game unfair. With that, the front man shoots the guard, and his henchmen shoot down the doctor too. After that, the front man and the guards search the whole organ operation and realize one guard is missing, number 29, aka Jun-ho. All the guards start looking for him, but Jun-ho is in a place no one could expect, inside the front man's hideout. After looking around for a bit, he finds the records of all the players. While the guards start searching the player's warehouse for him, Jun-ho realizes two insane things. One, the games have been happening since at least 1999. And two, Jun-ho's brother, Hwang Inho, was a part of these games too, back in 2015. This just keeps getting crazier by the second. Episode 6 kicks off in the aftermath of the whole organ ring bust. The players are all standing in line, ready to be sent to the next game. As they exit the warehouse, they see a horrific sight. The doctor and the guards that were using him hanging from the roof. The frontman explains that this is what happens to anyone who tries to cheat. Yikes. Meanwhile, Jun-ho is finishing up taking photos of the evidence and makes his way out when the phone starts ringing. The frontman then shows up, and Jun-ho has to hide at the last second to avoid being seen. The frontman picks up the phone and says that, while there has been a minor disturbance, everything will be sorted out by the time the VIPs are here. Huh? What VIPs? The frontman then leaves, and Jun-ho continues his investigation. Meanwhile, the AI lady on the speakers announces that the next game will be in teams of 2. This immediately gets Min Yao, Se-byuk, and player 240 canned. No one wants to team up with the girls. Okay, the sexism here is just disgusting. Before Gi-hun can make a decision, Ali and Sang-woo team up. Gi-hun knows he can't team up with Won, and the old man knows it too. So, Won walks off, and Gi-hun is left all alone. Damn. Another guy then comes up to Gi-hun and tries to recruit him. Gi-hun is hesitant when the guy says something worrying. You see, with the doctor gone, there's an odd number of players now, meaning that after all the teams are made, one person will be left behind, and they'll probably get executed. Hearing this, Gi-hun makes his decision. He's gonna team up with Won after all. He's such a cutie patootie. Soon, all the teams have been made, and one person has been left behind. It's Min Yao. And I am not surprised. She tries begging people to team up with her, but it's no use. The players head into the game, and she gets dragged away. She's hella annoying.
You and I are ganbu now. pretty great.
Anyway, the players go inside, and each player receives a pouch with 10 marbles. That's when the rules are announced. The players have to play a game of marbles against their own teammates. It can be any game they like. The only rule is that one person needs to end up with all 20 marbles at the end. The winner advances, and the loser gets to sleep with the fishes. This announcement hits everyone like a truck, except one, who is just focused on how pretty the marbles are. The people running this game are pure evil. With that, the games begin. Most people, including Deok-soo and his partner, as well as Ali and Sang-woo, are playing even odd, where you guess whether someone is hiding an even or odd number of marbles in their hands. While that's happening, Gi-hun is trying to convince a hallucinating one to start playing the game, while player 240 and Sae-byok decide they're gonna wait until the end and bet all their marbles on one round. As time passes, Deok-soo and Sang-woo are getting cooked in even odd, and while that's happening, 240 and Sae-byok are just talking. All while Gi-hun finally manages to convince one to play the game with him. A couple minutes later, Deok-soo is down to 5 marbles, and that demands a change of games. The guard agrees, and the rat bastard has a chance at redemption. Meanwhile, Sang-woo loses again and is down to his last marble. Sang-woo then crashes out, swearing at Ali and calling him a cheater, only for the guard to sit his ass down with a gun. Meanwhile, 240 and Sae-byok are swapping life stories. Sae-byok tells 240 about everything she went through in North Korea and after escaping it, while 240 tells her about how her dad unalived her mother. That's some heavy trauma bonding right there. Meanwhile, one is beating Gi-hun's at even odd, and Deok-soo and his teammate begin playing their new game, tossing marbles into a hole in the ground. While that's happening, Sang-woo gets on his knees and begs Ali to reconsider. Sang-woo tells him that if they don't have a winner between them when the time ends, then they'll get to play as a team against other teams, and Ali agrees. You think Sang-woo would have accepted this if the roles were reversed? Me neither. With the losers being shot left and right, Gi-hun is down to his last marble against one. They go another round, and Gi-hun guesses wrong. But one forgot what Gi-hun picked, so Gi-hun lies and cheats one out of his marbles. Now wait a goddamn minute, isn't this supposed to be the good guy? Meanwhile, Sang-woo tells Ali his plan. They're gonna split up and look for teams they could easily beat. Then, once time runs out, they'll go against a weaker team and they'll both win. As a sign of trust, Sang-woo hands Ali his last marble, meaning he now has all 20. But Sang-woo says keeping the marbles in his pocket is dangerous. So Sang-woo takes the pouch from Ali and, using his own shirt, starts making a necklace out of it. Meanwhile, Sae-byok and 240 keep talking, discussing what each would do if they actually won the money. These girls are my favorite part of the episode, by the way. Back with Deok-soo, his last marble stops just short of the hole in the ground, so it's his teammate's turn. Unfortunately, the teammate's marble hits a pebble and ends up pushing Deok-soo's marble in. The super evil and super lucky bastard wins, and his teammate gets gunned down. While that's happening, Gi-hun continues to take advantage of one's memory issues and is swindling him out of marbles. This breaks my heart, man. This game really brings out the worst in people. Back with Ali, he's scouting out teams to play against. Unfortunately, that's all because Sang-woo has the pouch with all the marbles in it. Yeah, I'm officially done with this piece of While Gi-hun takes the last marbles from one, Sang-woo hands over his 20 marbles to the guard, declaring his victory. Meanwhile, Sae-byok and 240 decide to finally play their game. They're gonna toss a marble towards the wall, and whoever gets closest wins. As a gesture of respect, Sae-byok tells 240 her name, and 240 shares her own, Ji-young. They actually became besties in just 27 minutes. How cute. Meanwhile, Gi-hun is super guilty about cheating, but hands his marbles over to the guard anyway, only to find out one still has 1 marble. By the time Gi-hun counts the marbles, one has already wandered off. Back with Sae-byok, she makes her throw, and it's Ji-young's turn, and Ji-young loses on purpose. What? Sae-byok loses her mind, demanding that Ji-young should make a real throw, but Ji-young refuses. She just says that she has no family to go home to, and when she tried to think about what to do with the money, she couldn't think of anything. But Sae-byok has a brother to look after and a mother to save. She needs to win and make it out. Tears start running down Sae-byok's face. She hates what's happening. Just then, Ali realizes he's been betrayed, and both Sang-woo and Sae-byok turn away as their partners are gunned down. That was hard to watch. Meanwhile, Gi-hun is trying to convince Won to play with him again, but the old man is totally out of it. When Gi-hun finally gets him to agree, Won says they should all play an all-or-nothing round. Gi-hun's 19 marbles versus his 1 for all 20. Gi-hun says that makes no sense, but Won says it makes more sense than cheating your friends. Yikes. Hearing that, Gi-hun just shuts up. The guilt is unbearable. That's when Won just hands over his last marble to Gi-hun, saying it's okay. He's old and he's already got a foot in the grave. Besides, Gi-hun helped make this a wonderful time for Won. As the old man puts it, it's a hell of a way to go out.
Hey. Everything's okay.
As Gi-hun hands over his marbles and walks away, Won finally remembers his name. It's Il-nam. And as Gi-hun walks away, he hears the gunshot. Damn, I am literally speechless. The next episode kicks off with Ali and all the other dead players being whisked away. As the players head back to the warehouse, they're greeted by a surprise. It's Min Yao. Apparently, her punishment for not getting picked was to sit this one out and rest up. I never said it was a good surprise, did I? Anyway, the front man answers a call, saying he's waiting for the VIPs to arrive. He then notices that the phone receiver was put back the wrong way. He knows someone's here. He takes out his gun and begins looking for Jun-ho, who's doing his best to hide in the storage room. Frontman almost finds him, but gets radioed by his guards. They've found a body. Turns out the very first guard Jun-ho killed has washed up on the island, and he still has Jun-ho's police ID on him. Frontman now knows who the intruder is. Damn it. With just 17 players left, player 6-9 says they should vote to end the game. Why? Because the poor Saab was teammates with his wife in the last game. Damn. But Sang-woo immediately gets up and starts screaming at him, saying that's the price for playing this game. No one else wants to quit, so player 6-9 just shuts up. Meanwhile, the VIPs finally arrive, and the front man tells this to his boss. So he's working for someone too. The front man then greets the VIPs and escorts them along, while Jun-ho spies from inside a vent. What a Chad. We then learn what these VIPs are. Extremely rich sickos who watch these games for fun and bet on who's gonna win. Yeah, I'm so sick I could throw up. Frontman escorts them to their rooms, saying they should rest until the next game is played. As they leave, Jun-ho takes out one of the servants and steals his gear. He's going undercover again. The next morning, the players wake up to see player 6-9 has hung himself. Damn, they're down to 16 players, and there's no time to process this, because it's time for the next game. While the VIPs settle in, Jun-ho blends in with the servants, handing out drinks. The front man then reveals that the game will have a glass bridge. We'll find out what that is in a little bit. Meanwhile, the players enter a room with 16 bibs in front of them. They all have to choose one. Jeez. With no other info, Deok-soo and the others immediately go for the middle numbers, leaving the start and the end open. As that happens, the VIPs tell Frontman to give them a hint, so he does. The announcer tells the players that the number on the bibs is the order they'll be playing the game in. Alright. Gi-hun gets super indecisive while the others pick, and he ends up having two choices: go first or go last. He's about to pick the first bib until player 96 asks for it.
I want to get at least one last chance to claim ownership of my life.
So, Gi-hun takes the last bib instead. Meanwhile, Jun-ho is recording the entire thing from the back. His cop shenanigans have been amazing to watch, honestly. The players then get introduced to the game. In accordance with the numbers they picked, they're gonna walk across a glass bridge with two squares on each side. Half the squares are tempered glass and can support the weight of 2 people, while the other half are normal glass and will break if even one person steps on it. Yikes. The look on player 96's face says it all. He's screwed. As the first contestant steps up, one of the VIPs makes Jun-ho sit next to him. He's taken a liking to him. Oh boy. Back in the game, the first contestant steps up and makes the first step correctly, only to plummet to his death at the next. The second steps up and dies quickly too. The next guy then does the math and, realizing he has a 1 in 32,678 chance, goes absolutely ballistic and starts running. He makes it about halfway across before falling falling too. The rest of the contestants start following his lead, all while Jun-ho has a serious problem. The VIP wants Jun-ho to take his mask off. Meanwhile, we see the last 3 contestants are Sang-woo, Se-byuk, and Gi-hun. Gi-hun thinks they have the advantage, but Sang-woo points out that they have limited time. Going last might just bite them in the ass. Number 6 is at the front now, and he starts praying, hoping God will show him the right way. The guy behind him tries pushing him, but falls himself. Number 6 then carries on, only to be pushed by the guy behind him. Deok-soo is in second now, and is following the lead of the guy in front of him. While Se-byuk helps Gi-hun, the guy in front of Deok-soo falls too, leaving him up top. With plenty of tiles left, Deok-soo goes nuclear. He says that anyone who wants to cross has to cross before him. He's not going anywhere. A loser, a cheater, and an asshole. This guy ticks all the boxes. Meanwhile, the VIP is still trying to get Jun-ho to take off his mask. So with no other option, Jun-ho rizzes up the VIP, saying they should go somewhere private. The VIP agrees, and the two leave the game room. Yikes. While Deok-soo tells the guy before him to go on ahead, the VIP takes Jun-ho to his room and takes his mask off. This is disgusting. The VIP is about to get freaky with Jun-ho, but our man pulls out a gun and turns the tables. Jun-ho then pulls out his phone, takes off the VIP's mask, and demands that he tell Jun-ho everything he knows about the games. Let's go. Meanwhile, Deok-soo is still arguing with the guy behind him, and the poor Sob just gets pushed off.
Man, you used to act like such a tough guy, babe. What happened to you?
Who did it? Well, Min-yao, of course. She gets into it with Deok-soo, calling him a coward. She then says she'll go first. His cowardly ass can stay behind. Deok-soo agrees, and Min-yao jumps on his glass. But instead of going forward, she grabs Deok-soo. Min-yao says she's not gonna die so he can win, and this is revenge for betraying her. With that, she jumps through the glass and takes Deok-soo down with her. This is probably the only thing that she has done right in this entire show. The remaining players are our 3 misfits and an old man. Lucky for them, the old man used to be a glass worker and can tell which glass is safe, so he leads the way, while Sang-woo, Se-byuk, and Gi-hun follow. Seeing this, the front man decides it's too easy and shuts off the lights. The old man can't tell the glass apart now. Oh, come on, was that really necessary? While that's happening, a guard finds the VIP out cold in his room and reports it to the front man. The front man checks a cupboard and sees a hidden passage with Jun-ho making an escape. The front man is furious and immediately goes after him. Meanwhile, the old man has made it to the last glass, but needs something to throw on the glass to make sure which is which. Gi-hun has a marble he saved from player 1, so he hands it over. The old man tosses it on the glass and says he needs another one to be sure, but Gi-hun doesn't have another one. So Sang-woo pushes the man from behind, sending him falling to his death. Yeah, in case you didn't notice, Sang-woo is pure evil. Se-byuk and Gi-hun make it across with Sang-woo as the time expires, which makes all the glasses explode. They all get cut up in the explosion, but it looks like Se-byuk is seriously hurt. Meanwhile, the front man finds out that Jun-ho has escaped the island using a scuba diving suit and a gas tank, so he gets onto a boat with his guards and begins tracking him. In case you didn't notice, Jun-ho has all the evidence he needs to take down the Squid Games, but he needs to make it out alive to do that. I really hope he makes it. Episode 8 starts with the last 3 players being escorted back to the warehouse. Meanwhile, Jun-ho makes it to land, but he doesn't know where he is, and his phone has no signal. Back at the warehouse, Gi-hun confronts Sang-woo, calling him a murderer. But Sang-woo doesn't care. He'll do whatever it takes to win. They fight for a bit, with Sang-woo calling Gi-hun a failure, and Gi-hun calling Sang-woo a fraud, before the guards walk in. They congratulate all 3 on making it to the finals, and say they have gifts for them. But before that, they need to change into different clothes. We then see Se-byuk in the bathroom. She's been stabbed by a big shard of glass. No! The poor girl pulls it out, with blood spilling everywhere, and does her best to patch herself up. She then washes herself off before seeing the new clothes. Back with Jun-ho, the front man has made it to land as well, and sends his men after the detective. Jun-ho sees this, and finally gets some reception. Jun-ho calls his police chief, and says he doesn't have time to explain. Jun-ho asks the police chief to get all the authorities involved, and track him while he sends the police chief all the evidence. One small problem with that, the chief can't really hear him. Still, Jun-ho cuts gets the call, sends all the proof, and makes a run for it. Please, God, let him make it out alive. Meanwhile, the 3 finalists see what their prize is: a lovely steak dinner with wine. With no other choice, Sang-woo and Gi-hun start wolfing it down, but Se-byuk is struggling to even eat. Yep, she's done for, and I'm kinda sad. While that's happening, the front man and his guards are chasing Jun-ho, as he desperately tries to send the proof through to the police chief. Back with the finalists, the guards clear their dinner plates and utensils, leaving only one thing in front of each of them: a knife. They leave with no instructions, so Sang-woo, Se-byuk, and Gi-hun pick up their knives. Meanwhile, Jun-ho gets cornered at the edge of a cliff, and the front man gives him a chance: come back with them or die. Jun-ho only has 1 bullet left, and he shoots the front man, who's still alive. Goddamn bulletproof vest. So the front man gets ready to shoot Jun-ho, who asks him to reveal his face. So the front man takes off his mask to reveal it's Inho, Jun-ho's little brother. What the hell? Before Jun-ho can process it, Inho shoots his brother, sending him falling over the cliff. What kind of animal kills his own brother? Back in the warehouse, each finalist is hanging onto their knives and trying to stay awake. But Gi-hun isn't trying to kill Se-byuk. He goes over in peace, and the two start talking. Gi-hun can tell she's hurt, and says they should stick together. Se-byuk says he needs to look after himself, but Gi-hun promises to stick with her. That way, they can beat Sang-woo and split the money.
We should stick together. We can beat him.
Se-byuk asks Gi-hun what he'll do with his half, and Gi-hun says he'll pay off his debt and open his mother a proper store in the city. Se-byuk says she's gonna take her brother out of the orphanage and save her mom from North Korea. Se-byuk then says they should promise to take care of each other's families in case one of them doesn't make it, but Gi-hun tells her to be quiet. Why? Because Sang-woo just fell asleep. Gi-hun takes out his knife and is about to end him, but Se-byuk stops him, saying that's not like Gi-hun. He's a good person at heart. Se-byuk then slumps over, and Gi-hun sees her wound. She's lost a lot of blood.
I think I want to go. I like to go home now.
He heads over to the door and starts banging it, crying out for help. The lights then turn on, and the guards walk in. Gi-hun is relieved until he sees a coffin. Gi-hun then turns around to see his worst nightmare. Sang-woo just killed Se-byuk. As Gi-hun holds her lifeless body in his hands, he looks at Sang-woo and loses it. He jumps at Sang-woo with his knife, who's ready to fight back, but the guards stop them. Gi-hun is forced to watch as Se-byuk's body is put in the box and carried away. Back with the front man, Inho removes the bullet from his shoulder, and as he looks in the mirror, he sees Jun-ho staring back, asking the same question: why? The episode then ends with Se-byuk's body being cremated. It's down to just 2 players now. May the best man win. The last episode of Season 1 starts with Gi-hun and Sang-woo having a toss between them to decide who gets to play offense and defense. Gi-hun wins and picks offense. The game they're playing? Squid Game. A poetic and violent end to their miserable journey, as the VIPs watch with a disgusting smile on their faces. Gi-hun and Sang-woo begin. Gi-hun throws some sand in Sang-woo's eyes to get past the initial one-footed handicap, and then the real match begins, which basically means they start fighting to the death. They start with knives, but quickly resort to punches, kicks, jackets, and just about anything they can manage to beat the ever-loving out of each other with. As it starts raining, Sang-woo is getting the upper hand on our MC and manages to stab Gi-hun in the leg and on his side. As Gi-hun drops to the floor, Sang-woo tells Gi-hun to look around. They're in the same playground they played red light, green light in. Sang-woo says they started out as so many, but only one of them is getting through, ending it back where it all started. It'd be so beautiful if it wasn't a nightmare. Sang-woo then tries to end it by stabbing Gi-hun, but our MC uses his bare hand to block the blade. Ouch! Gi-hun then bites Sang-woo's ankle and uses that to turn the tables. He starts punching Sang-woo's face in, blaming him for everyone dying. Sang-woo is just quiet. He knows he's lost. With that, Gi-hun takes the knife and stabs the ground next to Sang-woo. He can't just kill a friend. Gi-hun then walks over to the triangle, but refuses to step inside it. Instead, he says he wants to quit and asks Sang-woo to quit too. That way they'll both live. But Sang-woo just uses the knife to end himself instead. Yikes. In his final moments, Sang-woo asks Gi-hun to take care of his mother before passing on. And just like that, through determination, teamwork, grit, and sometimes even pure luck, Gi-hun is the winner of Squid Games. Later, Gi-hun is being transported back home, and he's depressed. The frontman tells Gi-hun he should celebrate, but Gi-hun just asks one question. Why? Why do they do this? The frontman says it's a lot like Gi-hun betting on horses. To him and the VIPs, Gi-hun and his friends were the horses. Sleeping gas then knocks out Gi-hun, and he's tossed onto the road back in his hometown. He then coughs something out. It's an ATM card. Talk about coughing up the money. Gi-hun tries it with the pin code 0456, and sure enough, it has all the money in it. As promised, Gi-hun starts walking home until Sang-woo's mom sees him. Oh boy. She hands Gi-hun something for his own mom. Before asking if Gi-hun has heard from her son, Gi-hun just stays quiet, and Sang-woo's mom drops the whole thing. Gi-hun is being destroyed by all the guilt, but he still has some hope. He gets home ready to give his mother a new life, only to see that she's already dead. Oh my god.
Got some money for us now.
Gi-hun then drops to his knees. The entire reason he wanted to do this was for his mom and his daughter, and now he's lost her. Gi-hun just holds her and cries. Time passes, and it's 1 year already. Gi-hun does not look like a billionaire riding in a private jet. Instead, he looks like a hobo and is on a train. He's heading over to the bank, where the banker tries to convince Gi-hun to put his money into an account that'll give him more interest. And Gi-hun asks the banker for a cool 10,000, takes it, and leaves. Turns out Gi-hun hasn't spent any of his prize money. Gi-hun takes the money from the banker so he can buy a drink, and he spends the rest on a random flower until he notices something on it, a card, and it has the same logo as the games. The card tells Gi-hun to come to a specific tower, saying it's from an old friend. Gi-hun makes his way over there and sees who it is. He's old, he's sick, and he's player 1. It's Il-nam. Wait, he's alive?
Tell me who you are! Why did I get to live and no one else?
Well, as it turns out, he's not only alive, Il-nam was the one who created the games. Holy plot twist! Gi-hun is trying to make sense of this betrayal, but Il-nam is focused on some drunkard in the street. Gi-hun wants to kill the old bastard, but if he does that, he'll never find out why Il-nam did all this. So, the two make a bet on whether anyone is gonna help the drunk man on the street. Gi-hun says that if someone does, he's gonna kill Il-nam, and Il-nam agrees. He then asks Gi-hun why he hasn't spent any of his money. After all, he earned it. But Gi-hun is disgusted that Il-nam would even ask such a thing. Does the old man feel no guilt? As it turns out, no, he doesn't feel any guilt. In fact, as Il-nam puts it, he hasn't felt anything in a long time. He says that's the only thing a super rich and super poor man have in common. Neither can enjoy life. Il-nam then tells Gi-hun why he joined the game, because he wanted to feel something one last time before he died. As the clock approaches 12, no one has come to help the drunkard. Il-nam asks Gi-hun if he still believes in the good of humanity, and that's when police show up and help the drunkard. As the clock strikes 12, Gi-hun turns to Il-nam, but it's too late. The old bastard is already dead. In the end, he got away with everything. Still, at least he died miserable. Before he leaves, Gi-hun tells Il-nam that he lost the bet. The front man then visits his boss and remembers why Il-nam never watched the game, because it could never be as fun watching as it was playing. What a sick, demented man. Gi-hun then goes to a hair salon and gets a goofy red haircut. After that, Gi-hun heads to the orphanage and sees Chul, aka Sae-byok's younger brother. He gets Chul out of the orphanage and drops him off with Sang-woo's mother. But that's not all. He also leaves them with a suitcase full of money, with a note saying it's the money he owed Sang-woo. In the end, he took care of his friends' families. We then see Gi-hun at the train station. He's on the phone with Ga-young, telling her he's about to get on a plane to America to visit her. But as he makes his way through the station, he sees it. The hot guy who introduced him to the Squid Games, preying on another poor man. Gi-hun tries to chase the evil sicko, but by the time he gets there, the man is already leaving on a train. So, Gi-hun snatches the card the guy gave to the poor man, saying his is not gonna play that game. Gi-hun then heads over to the airport and is about to board his plane until he stops. He then calls the number on the card, entering himself in the games again. The front man tells him to let it go and get on the plane. It's best for everyone, but Gi-hun refuses and turns around. Gi-hun's gonna go back to the games, and he's gonna put an end to them. That's right, we're just getting started. Season 2 opens with Gi-hun making his way out of the airport. When the front man calls him, he tells Gi-hun he's making a big mistake, but Gi-hun says he's gonna find the front man no matter what. Gi-hun then makes his way to Seoul, where he realizes they put a tracker on him, so he cuts it out, stopping them from following his every move. Meanwhile, a certain police officer wakes up from a coma. It's Jun-ho. The GOAT is alive. Not only that, Jun-ho remembers everything. Things just got even crazier. We then go through a 2-year time skip. Huh? So, time has passed and Jun-ho is now working as a humble traffic policeman. Jun-ho's old chief comes to visit him and begs him to come back to major crimes, but Jun-ho refuses. Traffic policing is simple, and that's how he likes it. The chief then tells Jun-ho he's tried his best to find the games that Jun-ho told him about, but they can't find the island, and they never got the proofs that Jun-ho sent. The chief also asks Jun-ho if he remembers who shot him, and Jun-ho says no. I see. Meanwhile, we see a couple fighting in front of a motel as Gi-hun watches from inside. It looks like his new base of operations. He then hears the bell and opens the door to find the front man standing there with Sang-woo and Se-byok's heads. Jeez. Gi-hun screams and starts shooting, but it was just a dream. Phew. Gi-hun then realizes someone is actually at the door. It's Mr. Kim. If he looks familiar, it's because Mr. Kim is the loan shark boss dude that Gi-hun owed money to in season 1. But after coming back from the games, Gi-hun paid off all his debt, so they kinda look chummy now. Not just that, Gi-hun also hired Mr. Kim and his crew to track down the hot, slick man in the suit that recruits all the poor people. Gi-hun has been funding this search for 2 years now, but Mr. Kim and his guys haven't found. So, Gi-hun gives Mr. Kim even more money and adds a bonus of 1 billion won for finding the recruiter.
What? A billion?
That's right, $1 billion. What? Huh? Now you want to believe his story?
Meanwhile, it turns out that Jun-ho isn't as hopeless as he looked like at first. He's still trying to find the game island. He's just doing this privately, with the help of a captain who saved his life 3 years ago. I knew my goat wouldn't give up that easily. The next day, this guy named Woo Seok describes the recruiter's appearance and motives to a lot of dudes in Mr. Kim's team. These guys are pumped. They are all gonna search for him. Mr. Kim then adds some more honey to it. He promises a prize of 500 million won to the team that finds the recruiter. All the dudes then leave to find the good-looking rascal, using their own money to find them. Gi-hun is relentless. So, Gi-hun's men search for the recruiter, while Jun-ho and the captain search for the island. Days turn into weeks, and they keep looking, and looking, and looking, but no matter how hard they look, Mr. Kim's men can't find the recruiter, and Jun-ho can't find the island. One night, after nearly drowning in the ocean, Jun-ho finally decides it's enough. He's gonna stop looking for the island. Damn. Meanwhile, Woo Seok is complaining about the search to Mr. Kim, saying they're never gonna find this guy, when they hear the noise of a paper smacking the floor. They look up and they see him, the recruiter, playing dakshi with a random guy. They call Gi-hun, who pulls out his gun and tells Mr. Kim to follow the recruiter. Meanwhile, Lee Myung-gi, the guy the recruiter was just playing with, stares at the card before he gets a call from Kim Jun-hee, his ex. Turns out, Jun-hee is at the hospital. She's pregnant. Not only that, Jun-hee also has a card for the games. She's been invited too. Oh boy. I definitely cannot see a pregnant woman go through these evil as hell games. Meanwhile, Mr. Kim and Woo Seok both follow the recruiter. The hot sicko goes into a bakery and buys 100 breads before going into a store and buying 100 lottery tickets. Mr. Kim then follows him into a park where the recruiter starts his shenanigans. He goes up to poor people, offering them a choice between a bread and a lottery ticket. All but one of the people pick the lotto ticket, and none of them get the winning numbers. The recruiter then throws all the bread on the floor and starts stomping on it. The poor people ask him why he's doing that, but the recruiter says he's not the one who threw the bread away. They are. Is This sicko okay in the head? Meanwhile, Gi-hun was a little too excited to get to the park and gets stopped for speeding by Jun-ho and his partner. Freaking destiny. Still, Jun-ho sends his partner to handle it, not knowing that it's Gi-hun in the car. Meanwhile, the recruiter leaves in a taxi, so Mr. Kim and Woo-seok get in a taxi of their own and start chasing him. While they chase the recruiter, Gi-hun just takes his ticket and leaves. Jun-ho gets suspicious, so he runs the plates, and when he sees it's Gi-hun, he gets even more suspicious. Meanwhile, Mr. Kim and Woo-seok chase the recruiter to an alley. There, they decide they'll take him on before Gi-hun shows up. This turns out to be a fatal mistake, as the recruiter beats the daylights out of them both. By the time Gi-hun gets there, Woo-seok and Mr. Kim are missing, while the recruiter watches Gi-hun from the roof. So close, yet so far away. Meanwhile, Jun-ho starts investigating Gi-hun. Woo-seok and Mr. Kim wake up to find themselves tied and gagged. The recruiter starts playing some music and tells them they're gonna play a game now. Rock, paper, scissors, -1. Basically, you throw up 2 signs instead of 1, and then both players have to choose one of them to actually play. It's a pretty goated game normally, but it's just sick here. To up the stakes, the recruiter puts 1 bullet in a revolver and says they're gonna play Russian roulette on the loser of each round. So, Mr. Kim and Woo-seok start playing, and the recruiter keeps pulling the trigger at the loser's head. But when both of them survive multiple rounds, the recruiter says it's too boring. So, instead of 1 out of 6 chambers having bullets, now 5 out of 6 chambers have bullets. Their odds of survival just went from 5 in 6 to 1 in 6. Come on, man! With that, they play another round, and Woo-seok accidentally throws a double rock. Mr. Kim has paper and scissors, so he's guaranteed to beat Woo-seok with paper, but in the end, he can't do that to his favorite dude. Mr. Kim simply refuses to play, and he gets shot in the head. No! As Woo-seok mourns his friend, the recruiter says they should talk now. Meanwhile, Jun-ho finds Mr. Kim's office and infiltrates it. While he's investigating, he finds Gi-hun's file and starts going through it. Meanwhile, Gi-hun gets back to the motel and finds the recruiter waiting inside with a gun. The recruiter says Gi-hun messed up by not getting on that plane, but Gi-hun just thanks him. After all, without the recruiter, he wouldn't have won the game and had the resources to track them down. That's a positive way of looking at things. Gi-hun then says he needs to talk to the front man, and the recruiter says he'll relay the message, but Gi-hun refuses. He says the recruiter is just a lapdog, and that he could never understand what Gi-hun has to say. My. The recruiter then reveals that he's been working for the games for a long time now. He even killed his own father in the games. But Gi-hun doesn't care. The recruiter has no idea what Gi-hun had to do to win, so he can't understand Gi-hun's message. The recruiter then decides that it's time to play a game again. Simple ol' Russian roulette. While Jun-ho makes it outside the motel, Gi-hun and the recruiter take turns, pointing the gun to their heads and pulling the trigger. It gets down to the last 2 chambers, and it's Gi-hun's turn. The recruiter says Gi-hun could just kill him. After all, the key to meet the front man is in the recruiter's pocket, and Gi-hun has the gun. But if Gi-hun does that, he'll just be admitting he's like the rest of the poor, insignificant trash out on the streets. So, Gi-hun puts the gun to his head and pulls the trigger, and it's empty. Phew. Gi-hun then hands the recruiter the gun back and turns the situation on him. Gi-hun says the recruiter could just shoot him right now if he wanted, but if the recruiter does that, he'll be admitting he's nothing more than his master's lapdog, barking and wagging his tail as his master pleases. The recruiter thinks about it and then smiles before shooting himself in the face. Talk about an intense opening episode. Yeesh. The next episode kicks off with Jun-ho hearing the gunshot inside Gi-hun's motel, so he races inside to investigate. There, he sees Woo-seok tied up in a room. After freeing him up, Jun-ho asks him where Gi-hun is, and Woo-seok tells him. Meanwhile, Gi-hun searches the recruiter's pockets and finds the invitation to meet the front man. That's when Jun-ho shows up, holding a gun. He begins arresting Gi-hun until Woo-seok knocks him out from behind. Ouch. Clever, but ouch. Woo-seok then sees the dead recruiter and tells Gi-hun how Mr. Kim died. While that's happening, we get a quick check-in on a woman named Kang No-ul. All you need to know right now is that she's homeless and is living out of her car, which gets her in trouble with the police. Back with Gi-hun, he's tied up Jun-ho and is demanding answers. So, Jun-ho tells Gi-hun about being on the island undercover and everything else, except for the fact that the freaking frontman is his freaking brother. After learning that Gi-hun wants to end the games too, Jun-ho says he wants to help, but Woo-seok doesn't want to involve the police, and Gi-hun agrees. But as Gi-hun walks away, Jun-ho says he can't forget what happened on the island, and he knows Gi-hun can't either. He's seen things Gi-hun hasn't, and he can offer some serious assistance. So Gi-hun bites and lets Jun-ho join them. Gi-hun then takes both Jun-ho and Woo-seok to the room he's keeping all the money he won from the games, and vows to use every last penny to end them. He then shows them all the firepower he's stocked up on, and it is a lot. He also tells Jun-ho to quit his job. This is gonna take a while. Meanwhile, we see No-ul working at an amusement park as a mascot, and she gives a little girl a lollipop. After her shift ends, the girl shows up and gives her a drawing. It's of No-ul and the girl together. Adorable! Turns out, this little girl's name is Park Na-yeon, and she has blood cancer. She needs a bone marrow transplant, but those are expensive. And her father, Park Seok, can't afford it. Meanwhile, Gi-hun checks up on Sang-woo's mom and Chul, who are doing great. They actually seem happy, too. That's a relief. He then heads to the people who are working for Sae-byuk and Chul's mom, begging them to make sure she gets out of North Korea. Yep, he's really making sure his friend's family stay happy, even after 3 years. What a guy. As Gi-hun leaves the tracker's office, No-ul shows up. Turns out she defected from North Korea too, but had to leave her 1-year-old daughter behind. Damn. She asks the broker to look for her little daughter again, but the man says it's pointless. He even refuses to take her money. After all, how can a 1-year-old survive without her mom? Well, that was depressing. Thanks, Netflix. Later that night, No-ul is drowning her pain with beer when a new recruiter-looking dude shows up and hands No-ul a card for the games. God damn it! The next day, Jun-ho goes to Inho's wife's funeral anniversary, hoping to see his brother show up, but of course, he doesn't. Later, over dinner, Jun-ho's mom blames herself for Inho running away, but Jun-ho says it's not her fault. Inho is paying for his own sins. Meanwhile, Na-yeon is at the amusement park waiting for No-ul's bunny, but it ignores her, leaving her sad. Look at her face, I'm gonna cry. You see, the bunny ignored her because it's not No-ul. There's someone else inside. No-ul's actually quitting. Her boss tries to stop her, but No-ul has made up her mind. She's leaving. Meanwhile, Seok is making his paintings at the amusement park when he sees an ambulance show up. Turns out, the ambulance is there for little Na-yeon, who passed out. Oh God, no! No-ul watches as the paramedics rush her to the hospital and notices that Na-yeon's hat fell off. Meanwhile, Gi-hun is preparing to meet the frontman and has a tracker installed inside his mouth. He's taking every precaution possible. While that's happening, No-ul visits Na-yeon at the hospital and returns her hat. Back with Gi-hun, Woo-seok introduces him to Kim and his squad of former military men. They're here to protect Gi-hun and make sure he comes out alive. The plan is simple. Gi-hun and Woo-seok go into the club and look for the frontman, while everyone else provides cover. Jun-ho wants to go too, but Gi-hun refuses. They know what Jun-ho looks like. After the preparations are made, Gi-hun musters up the courage to call his daughter, Ga-young. But even though Ga-young knows it's Gi-hun, the poor bastard can't manage to say a single word. Damn. Meanwhile, No-ul is sitting in front of a fire and calls to confirm her participation in the game. She then burns the invite and the drawing Na-yeon gave her. Yeah, she's locked in. Back with Gi-hun, they're outside the club the frontman's invite mentioned and are ready to go in. One problem with that. It's Halloween night and everyone is wearing a mask.
What are they planning here? They're up to something, I could feel it.
Still, Gi-hun and Woo-seok head in, while Jun-ho is on lookout duty. But while Gi-hun and Woo-seok look inside the club, Jun-ho sees them. 2 guards from the Squid Games walking into the club. Jun-ho immediately starts chasing them, but it's too late. One of them knocks out Woo-seok, and the other escorts Gi-hun to a white limo. Jun-ho catches the limo leaving and tells Kim and his team to start following it. Meanwhile, inside the limo, Gi-hun is speaking to the frontman through a radio. The bastard isn't here in person. Damn it! Gi-hun asks the frontman to stop the games, but the frontman says Gi-hun doesn't understand. The games must go on. According to the frontman, everyone that died in the game is trash. And as long as there's trash in the world, the games will continue. Back with Kim Kim, his team closes in on the limo when a sniper shoots their tire. They survive an accident and are stopped dead in their tracks. The rest of Kim's team gets stopped too, as does Jun-ho. Gi-hun's on his own. Gi-hun tries shooting his way out, but the limo is bulletproof, so Gi-hun has no other choice. He asks to go back in the game. The frontman asks if he's sure about it, and Gi-hun says he is. He's gonna stop them from the inside. So the sleeping gas kicks in and Gi-hun passes out. That's when the window rolls down, and it's revealed that the frontman actually was inside the limo the whole time. Evil scumbag. The episode then ends with No-ul pulling up to a parking lot and getting inside a truck. There are a bunch of mini rooms inside the truck, and No-ul gets into one and starts changing. Turns out, No-ul wasn't going to the games as a player. She's going there as a guard. A triangle guard. Well, this is gonna end terribly. The following episode starts with Woo-seok and Jun-ho taking all their men and setting out to find the island the game is being held on. How are they gonna do that? With the tracker and Gi-hun's tooth. Getting that implant was a great plan. Speaking of Gi-hun, he wakes up in the same warehouse wearing the same number, 456. Kinda cool. He wakes up next to player 44, aka Seong Gi-hun, who's essentially this insane astrology spirit voodoo baba. Seong Gi-hun sees Gi-hun and says he's not here because he wants to be. He's here because he's being haunted by the spirits of people who are long gone, and that he should come up to Seong Gi-hun to have them released. Creepy, but accurate. Who is this lady? Anyway, the guards show up and start explaining the game. We have the usual complaints from the players before the guards remind everyone, including Lee Myung-gi, that they're all a bunch of brokies who need this game more than this game needs them. Oh, and there's a new rule. After every game, if the majority of players decide to leave, then the prize pot till that point will be divided equally amongst the players, because the frontman is feeling kinda democratic. While Gi-hun thinks about this new rule, there's suddenly a commotion. Two players, Park Young-sik and Jang Gwem-ja, are in the middle, and they're having a loud argument. Apparently, Young-sik is a degenerate gambler in a lot of debt, and he's joined the games to pay it off. One small problem with that. Gwem-ja also joined the games to help with her son's debt. Mom of the year, for real. They start talking about who should go back and who should stay, but it looks like they're both gonna play the games. If only they knew. Meanwhile, as all the players line up to sign the consent forms, Myung-gi is confronted by this purple hair rapper looking dude called Thanos, and his sidekick called Nam-gyu. Anyway, turns out Myung-gi used to be a hotshot crypto YouTuber who ended up betting on the wrong coin. He lost billions himself, and his fans lost even more. Thanos and Nam-gyu were two of the people that took Myung-gi's advice, and they want their money back. Myung-gi says it's their own fault, but Thanos tells him to watch his back while he plays. Yikes. Meanwhile, Jun-ho and the others are approaching the island and are ready to storm the place to find Gi-hun. Back inside the games, everyone is taking their pictures, and it turns out that Thanos not only looks like it, but he actually is a famous rapper. God damn, bro even has fans inside the games. Anyway, we then see Gi-hun running into Jung-bae, his friend from season 1. Jung-bae has been through a divorce and now is here because he needs the money. So Gi-hun tells Jung-bae to stick by his side, no matter what. Jung-bae has no idea what he's gotten himself into. Meanwhile, Jun-ho, Woo-seok, and the others make it to the island and start tracking Gi-hun's location. Back with Gi-hun, all the players enter the field to play an all too familiar game, red light, green light. There, Thanos starts hitting on Kang Mi-na, this beautiful looking baddie, and starts rapping about how pretty she is. Barf. While Thanos is being a weirdo, Gi-hun realizes something is wrong. He begins pulling out his dental implant and realizes it. The tracker is missing. Meanwhile, Woo-seok finds Gi-hun's tracker inside some fisher's bait. Apparently, someone had spare bait and gave it to him. Yep, Gi-hun is screwed. Still, Gi-hun never gives up. He tells everyone the truth. These aren't kid games, they're death games. As the game starts, he starts coordinating everyone's movements, doing his best to make sure everyone survives.
Is this all a friend of yours?
No, never met him.
And it's working. What a Chad. Unfortunately though, a bee lands on Mina's face and makes her freak out, and she gets shot in the head by triangle guard No Ul. Damn. Other people start freaking out too, despite Gi-hun's warning, and start running away. Just like season 1, they all get shot and taken down. For the remaining players, Gi-hun tells them to get in lines and start making their way toward the finish line on his signal. As they do, No Ul sees Gyeong-seok, Nayeon's father. He's here to save his daughter. God damn it. Anyway, Thanos pops a pill and gets high, and the game continues. People are still getting taken out, but a majority of players are following Gi-hun's instructions and surviving. Gi-hun and Jung-bae make it with about 40 seconds left, but when Gi-hun sees a player that's been shot and is still alive, he risks it all to save the injured man. He's not alone though. He gets help from this awesome and super strong lady called Cho Hyun-ju. Together, they cross the finish line and survive, only for the man they helped to get shot anyway. This game is merciless. Back with Jun-ho and the others, the captain says there's a storm warning. They have to go back. Back at the warehouse, Gi-hun is explaining what's happening to Jung-bae when the guards walk in. As per usual, the players start begging for forgiveness and to be left alive until Gi-hun reminds them they can vote to end the games. The guards agree to hold a vote, but not before showing them the prize money. 91 players were eliminated, so the prize is 9.1 billion won. Divided among the remaining players, it's 25 million each, which nobody thinks is enough. So the vote begins, but this time, everyone who votes is separated into two groups: those who choose to continue and press O, and those who choose to quit and press X. Gi-hun chooses to end the games, as does Jung-bae. The voting goes on, with Myung-gi and Thanos choosing to continue. Unfortunately, even after all that fiasco and red light, green light, the vote is leaning in favor of continuing the games. Humans are so weird. So Gi-hun starts begging everyone to end the games. This backfires because everyone turns on Gi-hun. They say he's been planted by the guards. How else could he know how the games work? But Gweom-ja and Jung-bae start defending Gi-hun, which leads to a huge argument breaking out. That's when Gi-hun shouts his iconic line,
Played these games before!
Gi-hun tells everyone how he was the sole survivor and how everyone else died. But this just motivates the players even more. With a winner guiding them, there's no way they'll lose. That's when the guards tell everybody to just shut up and vote. So the voting continues. Gweom-ja and Jun-hee, yep, that pregnant girl, vote to end the games, as does Young-shik. Eventually, it comes down to the last vote, and player 1 steps up. Gi-hun watches in silence as player 1 chooses to continue the games. The O gang celebrates, while the others just stare in silence. And Gi-hun's face says it all. He knows they're in trouble now. What he doesn't know is that the man who had the deciding vote is none other than the frontman himself. That's right, it's Inho. He's playing the games this time. Episode 4 starts with Inho and some other people coming up to Gi-hun, looking for help. Inho says he only chose to continue because of Gi-hun. With his help, Inho believes they can win at least one more game and then choose to quit. So Gi-hun tells them about the cookie shape game. Inho and the others say they shouldn't tell everyone, but Gi-hun disagrees. If the next game is in fact the same, he's gonna tell everyone. Yikes. While the rest leave, Inho sits down with Gi-hun and asks him why he came back after winning the 45.6 billion. Gi-hun says it's blood money, but Inho disagrees. It's not like Gi-hun killed the other 455 players. Meanwhile, Gweom-ja is looking after Jun-hee. She can tell that Jun-hee is pregnant. Aww. Young-shik comes and pulls her away, but not before Gweom-ja tells Jun-hee to look for her if she ever needs help. Even in a place like this, kindness still exists. Back with Gi-hun and Jung-bae, they meet Kang Deho, a lively young fellow who wants to team up with them. And when it turns out Deho was in the Marines, just like Jung-bae, he's instantly accepted. They're so cute. It even makes our depressed MC smile. On the other side of the room, Namgyu and Thanos start bullying Myung-gi. When he fights back, the two start beating the snot out of him. Seeing this, Inho steps up and tells them to stop. But when Thanos tells Inho to save the lectures for his own kids, it seems he hits a nerve with Inho, because the frontman proceeds to pummel the lights out of these two bullies, making them apologize. Meanwhile, No Ul gets back to her room and thinks about Gyeong-seok. After all, there's a pretty high chance she'll have to shoot him. Later that night, Inho comes up to Gi-hun and apologizes for earlier, so Gi-hun apologizes too. We then see that the guards are still running the whole organ stealing program, but they have a problem. You see, whenever they try to shoot someone in a way to capture them alive, No-ul ends up confirming the kill. Nice. With Inho playing the game, another masked officer is in charge now, and he asks No-ul to come see him. They meet, and we learn that he's known No-ul for 7 years, ever since she escaped North Korea. The officer tells No-ul to stop interfering with their plans. These people are gonna die anyway, so why not use their organs to save others? When No-ul refuses, the officer reminds her of her kid back in North Korea. He tells No-ul that she said she'd do anything to save her child. Well, this is what she has to do. No-ul doesn't agree or disagree. She just takes her leave and walks out. Meanwhile, Jun-ho tries going to the police for help, only to be called a madman and getting told to leave. So Jun-ho calls Woo-seok, telling him they're on their own. With the games running in full speed, Jun-ho says they only have about 5 days to find the island, but it's raining today, and they can't set sail. Woo-seok, meanwhile, is having lunch with the captain, and he tells him all about Gi-hun and the games. What Woo-seok and the others can't figure out is how Gi-hun's tracker was found. Someone must have leaked that info. Meanwhile, the next game is indeed the cookie cutting, so everyone stands in line behind the triangle.
The triangle's the easiest, right?
Only to realize the shape in the cookie is a bajillion triangles. Everyone starts ganging up on Gi-hun, who screams and wakes up. It was a nightmare. Oh, thank God. Meanwhile, Jun-hee finally confronts Mongi, the YouTuber dude who got her pregnant. Not only that, but he also had her invest in crypto, and she lost everything too. Anyway, she's here to tell Mongi that she's keeping the baby, and she's gonna raise it by herself. You tell him, girl. With that, the guards come in and escort everyone to a field. There, it turns out they're not playing the cookie game. Instead, they have to make teams of 5. Everyone starts getting mad at Gi-hun, but Inho tells them all to shut up. They go away, and Gi-hun pairs up with Inho, Jung-bae, and Deho. They need one more teammate, so Deho heads off to look for one. Meanwhile, our girl Hyungju is trying to find a team, but everyone is giving her a disgusting look and saying no. God forbid somebody be a little different. Luckily, a girl does ask Hyunju to be on her team. While Jun-hee refuses to team up with Myung-gi, Gwem-ja and Young-shik are also struggling to find a team, because no one wants to team up with an old lady. Again, they're just assholes. Meanwhile, Thanos finds another attractive girl named Se-mi and asks her to join his team. She agrees, on the condition that Thanos keep this dork called Min-soo too. Thanos agrees, and they're a 5-man team. Deho then shows up with yet another Marine, and it looks like their team is gonna be OP.
Do you think I could join you guys?
Until Jun-hee shows up, tells them she's pregnant, and begs to be on their team. Damn. Meanwhile, Seon-yao shows up to team up with Hyunju, Gwem-ja, Young-shik, and Kim Young-mi. As time expires, we see that Gi-hun's team decided to go with Jun-hee after all. The game is then revealed. Basically, it's 6 games in 1. Each team will have their legs tied together and will participate in 5 games. Each player plays 1 game only, with the overall race against time being the 6th game. If they complete all 5 games and cross the finish line in 5 minutes, they win. Gi-hun and his team start deciding who's gonna play what game, and Inho almost blows his cover by using Gi-hun's name, before he covers up by saying he heard Jung-bae say it. With that, the first 2 teams take to the stage, and the race begins. And I have to say, this game is awesome. It's high stakes, requires teamwork and coordination. It'd be hella fun if the losers weren't gonna have their brains blown out though. It's sad. Speaking of that, one of the teams gets stuck on an early game and runs out of time, so they're all shot down. Luckily for the organ snatchers, one of the men is alive, and they plan to take his organs. Unluckily for them, No-ul has them open the box and make sure the man is dead. The officer is watching from the control room, and you can see his anger peeping through the mask. Meanwhile, Hyunju's team is up next, and she motivates Young-mi and everyone else, saying they're gonna kill it. The episode then ends with them lining up and setting off for their game. The next episode starts with Hyunju's team kicking off their game. Young-mi has the first turn with Dakchi, and she's struggling at first, but Hyunju gives her some advice, and she nails it. They then move on to the stone throwing game, and Gwem-ja fires up Young-shik, so he nails it. They then move on to the next game, where it's Young-shik's turn to fire up Gwemja for Gongi, which is apparently a game for the girlies in South Korea, and they ace that too. With each game, more and more participants start cheering them on. The problem rises in the fourth game though. Seon-yao starts panicking when it's time to spin the top, saying she's gonna die. Hyunju tries being nice at first, and when that doesn't work, she literally slaps some sense into her. What a leader. Seon-yao then nails the top spin, meaning they're on to the final game. When it's Hyunju's turn, and she asks everyone to turn around as she does 5 keepy-uppies with a shuttlecock. Everyone holds their breath and listens. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5! Hyunju does it, and they head for the finish line, with every single player on their feet and cheering them on, including Gi-hun. Just as the time runs out, Hyunju's team, as well as the other one that was playing at the same time, make it out alive, leading to one of the most heartwarming celebration scenes I've ever seen.
Don't get too worked up, okay?
Cue the montage of everyone playing the games, and it's going much better than you'd think. Anyway, Thanos and Myunggi's team make it through. Pretty soon, only 2 teams are left, with one being Gi-hun's. They wish each other luck and begin. They start off strong with Jun-ho, Jung-bae, and Deho all acing their games in one try. Look at Deho nailing that girly pop game because he grew up with all sisters. He is such a cutie. Anyway, after that, it's Inho's turn with the top. And he fails. Miserably. Multiple times. Almost like he's doing it on purpose. Evil bastard. He does eventually do it though. But now the team just has 30 seconds for keepy-uppies. Gi-hun does the first 4, but the shuttlecock goes away from him. So, Inho comes in clutch and stretches their feet out, getting the 5th. They then haul ass to the finish line and make it in time. Yep, they won. The other team, unfortunately, did not make it, and they get gunned down. Way to ruin the mood, you stupid guards. We then check in with the surviving teams who, one way or another, are getting to know each other. While they're all happy to have survived, some of them are not happy about how many people survived, and they all blame Gi-hun. Rascals. We then cut to No-ul, who's about to log off and go to bed when she's attacked by 2 other guards. She tries fighting back but gets overpowered. The guards then give her an ultimatum. She either stops interfering with their organ-stealing business, or they won't just kill her. They'll R-word her too. Yep, these people deserve to die. Back with Gi-hun's team, they're also in the process of getting to know each other, and they all share names. Inho gives some fake name, but for some reason, it makes Gi-hun just a little suspicious. I bet he can smell the bull. That's when the guards come in and announce the results of the last game. 110 players died, meaning the prize is now 78 million per person. They then hold another vote, this time starting from the lowest number. Inho steps up and votes to quit. He's playing his persona perfectly. However, Young-shik decides to keep the game going, as does Jung-bae. Even the good guys aren't all choosing for the games to stop. Heck, the nicest person here, Hyunju, chooses to keep the game going too. She must be desperate. After Min-soo is pressured into choosing to continue, Inho starts giving a speech, telling everyone they need to quit. But they all say the current pot isn't enough to pay off their debts. They need to keep playing for at least one more game. Inho and Gi-hun beg everyone to stop, but the young idiot Young-sam and the old fart Young-dae band everyone together by chanting, "One more game."
One more game! One more game! One more game!
With that, the vote ends in favor of the O team pretty comfortably, leaving Gi-hun, Inho, and their teammates depressed. Even Myung-gi chose to end the games for his pregnant ex. They just got outnumbered by idiots. Meanwhile, Min-soo is absolutely terrified of the games and asks Semi for advice. Semi says she's scared too, but if she doesn't win the money, what's waiting out there for her is scarier. Meanwhile, Young-shik apologizes to Gwemja. Turns out he has a bit more debt than he told Gwemja before, and he needs one more game to be totally debt-free. Gwemja agrees, but she's really disappointed in her son. Meanwhile, Deho pulls out Jung-bae from his hiding place, and I get why he's hiding. The greedy bastard voted to keep the game going. Of course, he only did it because he needed the money. Besides, even if he voted to stop, the game would have gone on. But Gi-hun isn't so positive. He knows how sick these games can be, and how often they make friends turn on each other. Still, they all promise to do their best, both at the game and at protecting Junhee. They even give her their lunches. They're so sweet. Except Inho. Later, Mongi is just trying to use the bathroom when Thanos and his goons start bullying him again. Mongi has seriously had enough of Thanos asking for his money back, so he tells Thanos to piss off. Thanos is about to lay the smackdown on Mongi until Inho walks in, scaring him off. Yeah, you better run, losers. Inho tells Mongi he can count on him for help, but Mongi says he doesn't need it. Sure, buddy. We all saw you defend yourself so bravely when Thanos beat your the first time. Anyway, later that night, Gi-hun has all the nice people set up a barricade in case anyone else decides to attack. Gi-hun says he'll keep first watch, and the rest go to bed. Later that night, Gwem-ja and Jun-hee have gone to the bathroom. After some pleading with the guard, he lets them through, and Hyun-ju joins them as well. Inside the bathroom, Gwem-ja tells Hyun-ju about Junhee being pregnant. Meanwhile, Jung-bae gets up and sits next to Gi-hun, who's still on watch. After apologizing for choosing to continue the game, Jung-bae does something weird. He starts annoying Gi-hun. And when I say annoy, I mean he starts rage-baiting the hell out of him. He blames Gi-hun for losing his job, for his shop failing, for his divorce. Jung-bae blames him for everything. That's when Gi-hun gets mad and starts arguing back, only for Jung-bae to start laughing. Jung-bae says that's all he wanted, to see Gi-hun act like his old self again. Aww. Jung-bae then says they should leave after the next game and go get a drink, like old times. And Gi-hun agrees, as long as Jung-bae is buying, and they both start laughing. Friendship is beautiful. You know who's not beautiful? Inho, who's pretending to be asleep and is eavesdropping on their conversation. Meanwhile, Hyun-ju and Gwem-ja check in on Junhee, who's getting closer and closer to her due date. They promise to help her, and the poor girl just starts crying. The next day, Jun-ho and Woo-seok get on the boats, along with Kim and his men. Their plan is simple. They have 2 boats, enough food to last for a week, and the determination to find and save Gi-hun. Before they head out though, Kim kind of gets into it with the captain. It's clear Kim has something against him. Anyway, the players wake up the next day and get escorted to their game. Before they do, Se-mi tells Min-soo to look out for himself. She doesn't think the dork would survive more than 1 game. They then get taken to a huge ballroom and get introduced to their next game, Mingle. Basically, all the players get on a platform which spins as music plays. When the music stops, the announcer will say a number. Players then have to form groups of that exact number and go into one of the many rooms surrounding them. Hyun-ju and Gi-hun's teams strategize their plans and promise to make it out no matter what. With that, they get on the platform and the music starts blasting and the games begin. The next episode starts with the players playing Mingle. Suddenly, the music stops, and the announcer says a number, 10. Gi-hun's team of 5 pairs up with Gwem-ja, Young-mi, Young-shik, Hyun-ju, and Sin-yao. They run into a room as the time expires, and the door automatically locks itself. Outside, everyone gets shot. And then the game resumes. The next number is announced, 4. So, Inho splits up, saying he'll find another group. Meanwhile, Thanos ditches one of his friends.
Let's go!
And gets into a room with Se-mi, Min-soo, and Nam-gyu. He then acts surprised when the guy he left behind dies. Guess that's what happens when you're high on pills the whole time. We then see the evil bastard guards taking away a man who's still alive, as No-ul watches, and does nothing. Gi-hun's team then gets out, and sees that Inho is still alive, and they're all happy. Although, I am not happy at all. The next number is 3. Jung-bae and Deho pair up with Junhee, while Inho and Gi-hun look for a third. Thanos, Nam-gyu, and Min-soo abandon Se-mi, leaving her on her own. Damn. Young-shik gets carried away by 2 other men, separating him from Gwem-ja. Thankfully, Inho and Gi-hun grab her and take her to a room. That's where Inho questions why Young-shik would abandon his mom, and Gwem-ja loses it, screaming at him. And Gi-hun is even more suspicious now. Meanwhile, it turns out that Gyung-seok paired up with Hyun-ju and Young-mi. The good guys survive another round. The next number is 6. Gi-hun, Inho, Jung-bae, and Gyung-seok separate to find 2 others, while the other 6 run for a room. They eventually find one, but Young-mi falls to the ground in the scuffle. Hyun-ju is about to go save her, but that's when Myung-gi bursts into the room and locks the door. Hyun-ju is forced to watch as her friend Young-mi gets gunned down. Oh, Hyunju then gets mad at Myung-gi, but he's not sorry. According to him, he saved their lives. Sadly, Jun-hee and Deho agree. There wasn't enough time to save Young-mi. Yeah, I don't care. Myung-gi is still a prick for doing that. The game starts again, and the next number is 2, which Inho predicted in advance. The good guys all split into teams of 2, but there's a lot of confusion and pushing happening. In the whole scuffle, Inho and Jung-bae steal a room from a team, only to see one of them is still inside. The man refuses to leave, and with the time ticking down, Inho does what he knows best. He mercilessly kills the man, right in front of Jung-bae. Yeesh. Meanwhile, the organ stealers are back at their jobs, with no Uul laying off them. Back with the players, Gi-hun is discussing how to proceed with Inho, while Jung-bae is giving Inho the bombastic side eye. Meanwhile, Myung-gi tries to patch things up with Jun-hee, saying they'll start over after they leave, but Jun-hee tells him to go kick rocks. She's raising this kid by herself. It gets worse though, because Thanos and his punks see Myung-gi talking to her. They just found a weak spot. Back with Gi-hun, he wants to convince the other players to vote to quit now. The money per player is over 300 million, but Inho says that's not wise. It could start a fight. So they decide to hope for the best, and the voting begins. Meanwhile, Jun-ho, Woo-seok, Kim, and the others find an island where they think they see a suspicious door, so they head out to investigate it. Meanwhile, the voting starts, and it's more intense than ever. Gi-hun has done the math. They need 7 players to switch their vote for the games to stop. Turns out that's not a big number. Jung-bae, Young-shik, Hyunju, Min-soo, and Myung-gi all voted to continue the previous round. With their votes, it's down to just 2 more people needing to switch. Meanwhile, Jun-ho follows Kim and his team to investigate the door, while Woo-seok and the captain watch through a drone. They get to the door and open it, only for a bomb to go off. I hope Jun-ho and Kim are okay. Meanwhile, the voting continues, and the last 2 people they needed to switch have already done it. Gi-hun thinks their victory is guaranteed, until one lady from the quitters switches her vote. The best case scenario is a tie now, with Inho having the last vote. As he walks up to vote, Jung-bae is about to tell Gi-hun how Inho murdered that guy in Mingle. But when Inho votes to stop the game, Jung-bae decides against it. The voting ends in a draw, meaning there's gonna be a re-vote tomorrow. Back with Dora the Explorers, Jun-ho and Kim are fine, but Kim lost one of his men. The captain suggests going back, but Kim and Jun-ho refuse. They won't rest until they find that damn island. Woo-seok says they're definitely being spied on, so Jun-ho tells everyone to switch radio channels.
One of your men just died.
Let's keep searching. He's never gonna rest in peace.
Back at the warehouse, the good guys try convincing the people who want to continue the game to switch sides, but they refuse and take it one step further. One of them calls Deho a coward. This almost starts a fight between the X's and the O's. That's when Gi-hun opens his meal and realizes the guards added forks. They just handed everyone here a weapon. We then cut to Min-soo. He's being bullied in the bathroom by Thanos and Nam-gyu. Lucky for Min-soo, Myung-gi shows up and confronts Thanos. Myung-gi then calls the rest of the X's there, saying that Thanos is bullying one of theirs. So, Thanos calls all the O's, saying that the X's want a fight. Thanos then threatens Jun-hee, which sends Myung-gi over the edge. He swings, and a fight breaks out between the X's and O's. Min-soo escapes during the commotion, while Thanos starts choking Myung-gi. He's about to end Myung-gi's life until Myung-gi sticks a fork in his throat. The last episode of Season 2 starts with the fight in the bathroom getting even more violent, after Myung-gi violently stabs Thanos twice. He hides in the bathroom. Nam-gyu then uses the fork to stab another guy, and the fight continues. The players in the warehouse learn about this when the announcer lady says the number of participants who just died. Soon, the X's and O's come back, each team blaming the other for starting the fight. That's when they decide they need to count their members and see which team lost more people. Meanwhile, on the boat, one of Kim's men gets up because he's feeling seasick. And after throwing up, he sees the captain messing with the drone. Oh, hell nah! The captain tries to play it off, but the man knows something is up. So, the captain stabs him and throws him overboard. I knew this bastard was shady. That's when Woo-seok shows up, and the captain tries to act all normal in front of him. Meanwhile, the X's and O's complete their head counts. The X's lost 2 people, while the O's lost 3. So, if everything stays the same, the X's will win the vote tomorrow, and everyone will go home. Unfortunately, things are never that easy. Meanwhile, Gi-hun tells the exes the harsh truth. The O's are probably going to attack them after lights out. Inho says they should attack first, but Gi-hun refuses. That's exactly what the people running the game want. Instead, Gi-hun has a different plan. Attack the guards, steal their guns, and go after the people running the game. Inho must be laughing like a maniac inside. Speaking of the guards, they gather outside the warehouse, ready to clean up the aftermath of the fight. Lights out happens, and we see Gi-hun explain his plan in real time as the O's attack. It's simple. Gi-hun and his friends will hide underneath the beds when the O's come in to attack. Inho says that a lot of the exes will die without their help, and Gi-hun knows that. But Gi-hun says that if they don't make this sacrifice now, they'll never be able to stop the games. So, Inho says he's in. The O's begin attacking mercilessly, killing every ex in sight, while Gi-hun and his allies hide. During the commotion, Nam-gyu kills Se-mi, while Min-soo watches and hides like a coward. What a loser. That's when the guards step inside to stop the fight. But when the guards start scanning the dead bodies, they find Gi-hun and his friends waiting to ambush them. They steal the guards' guns and start shooting. After an old-school shoot-down takes place, Gi-hun's friends take out all but one of the guards, who they decide to take hostage. One of the exes then picks up a gun, ready to kill the O's. After all, they murdered so many people, but Gi-hun stops him. If he does that, Gi-hun says he'll be no better than the people running this game. What a man. So, the guy stops, and Gi-hun begins the preparations. They take the ammo and weapons off every guard before placing it on the floor. There, Gi-hun gives an open invite to anyone who wants to come fight with them. A couple guys take up the offer, but Gwem-ja stops Young-shik. So, it's Gi-hun, Inho, Jung-bae, Deho, Hyun-ju, and a couple other guys. Oh, yeah, Hyun-ju used to be a sergeant in the army. She's a badass. So, they grab the guard they have hostage and make him take them to the front man.
Voice. It'll be in our dreams when we get out.
Yeah, right. It's not going to be that easy, though, because as soon as they exit the room, they are greeted by guards trying to gun them down. Cue the next shootout, with Hyun-ju taking them out like a badass. But you know who's not a badass? Deho. Looks like he's too scared to even hold a gun, let alone fire it, which is weird for a freaking Marine. Anyway, they continue shooting their way through the place until they're close to the control room. There, the guard they have hostage gets shot. So, Gi-hun swipes his mask and takes Jung-bae to infiltrate the control room, while everyone else gives them cover. They use the guard's mask to open the door and start making their way up, shooting guards along the way. But pretty soon, all of them start running out of ammo. Deho also runs out of ammo because he's shooting like a coward, but whatever. Gi-hun and Jung-bae are out of ammo, so they come up with a plan. Since all the guards have ammo in their pockets, that includes the ones they killed in the warehouse. So, Deho will go grab ammo from the dead guards in the warehouse, while Inho and the others will go back up Gi-hun and Jung-bae. Speaking of Gi-hun, he risks his life to take the magazines from 2 dead guards, and even gets an injury in the process. But it was worth it, he got the ammo. Meanwhile, Inho and his 2 teammates make their way to Gi-hun, while Deho heads over to the warehouse. With Young-shik and the others helping, he gathers all the magazines he can find. Back with Gi-hun, Inho says there's definitely a way to flank the guards, so he and his team are gonna do that. Gi-hun then gives Inho one of the magazines he got, and Inho heads out. Meanwhile, Deho has all the magazines and is about to go back when he hears all the gunfire. Himself and chickens out. Are you for real? Hyun-ju thinks something must have gone wrong, so she goes to check on Deho. Meanwhile, Inho and his teammates finally flank the guards, only for Inho to shoot them both in the back. The mask is finally off, or should I say the mask is back on? Inho then uses the dying man's voice to fake his own death before taking back control of the game. Meanwhile, Hyun-ju makes it to the warehouse, only to find Deho cooped up and scared half to death. She grabs the magazines, but the room is suddenly flooded by guards. Hyun-ju prepares to shoot her way out, until Gwem-ja stops her. There's no way she can take them all on.
This isn't a good way to die.
Meanwhile, Gyung-seok and his partners have also run out of ammo. While one of them kills himself, Gyung-seok and the other surrender, only to be shot down too. Back with Gi-hun, he and Jung-bae surrender too. That's when Inho, back in his mask now, shows up. He mocks Gi-hun, asking if he's done playing hero. He then tells Gi-hun that this is the price of playing hero, before shooting Jung-bae. How dare you, you monster! Gi-hun tries fighting back, but he's not strong enough, and season 2 ends with Gi-hun pressed against the floor, screaming in agony over his friend's death. Well, I'm depressed now. Season 3 kicks off with us seeing what happened to Kyung-seok. Turns out the guard that shot him was No-ul, but she didn't kill him. Instead, she tells him to play dead if he wants to stay alive. She then reports him dead and pretends like she's gonna work with the organ stealers. She is so damn cool. Meanwhile, the guards bring a coffin to the warehouse and leave it there. The players open it to find Gi-hun. Luckily, he's still alive. We then check in on Jun-ho and the others. They're all looking for the missing drone operator, and the captain has them all fooled. Kinda. They decide to get a new drone operator while the old one lies dead less than a kilometer away. Just who the hell is this captain? While they continue their helpless search, Gi-hun wakes up from a nightmare into an even worse one. Turns out the only survivors from their mission were Gi-hun himself, Hyun-ju, and the Deho. We then learned that 35 players in total died last night, and the prize is now 660 million apiece. Gi-hun immediately goes up to the guards, asking them why he's still alive. After all, they won. So why didn't they kill him? Gi-hun then grabs the guard's gun and begs them to kill him, as Inho watches the whole thing from his cozy little room. Bastard. Speaking of Inho, it turns out that the captain is in direct contact with him. Inho tells him to make sure Jun-ho and his team does not find the island until the games are over. And if things go south, Inho tells the captain to kill everyone, including Jun-ho. Damn. Meanwhile, with Inho back in charge, his replacement officer is now back to second fiddle. We then see No-ul, who's doing her best to infiltrate the organ stealing place so she can save Kyung-seok. Meanwhile, we see the results of the next vote. 41 O's, 18 X's, which is not surprising considering so many X's died in the attack. The O's then gather around and start mocking Gi-hun, thanking him for taking out their competition.
Now let's show our man some gratitude with a round of applause!
As if that wasn't enough, Seong-gi gets up close to Gi-hun and mocks him even more, until he snaps. Gi-hun grabs her throat, almost choking her, but her lackeys pull her away. Meanwhile, the organ stealers get ready to dissect Kyung-seok, when the other guard brings No-ul inside. Unfortunately for them, No-ul turns on them all and shoots them down. The only survivor is the doctor, and No-ul orders him to save Kyung-seok, or she'll kill him too. What a woman. Back with the players, Gi-hun is handcuffed to one of the beds, while everyone gets their food. Gwem-ja and Young-shik bring him food, while Hyun-ju tries to offer some comfort. That's when Young-shik tells Gi-hun why they failed, because Deho got scared and backed out. They then leave Gi-hun alone, who just turns around and looks at Deho. If looks could kill. Back with Jun-ho, he's chipping away at the mystery of the island, when Woo-seok comes in. Woo-seok then asks Jun-ho about the captain. Frankly speaking, Woo-seok thinks the captain is a bit fishy. Finally, our boy sees it. But Jun-ho was having none of that. He says the captain is a trustworthy friend, and that's that. Yeah, his detective skills got left behind at the sea somewhere. Meanwhile, we see Gi-hun, and it looks like he spent all night staring at Deho. Deho wakes up and the first thing he sees is Gi-hun's bloodshot eyes looking back at him. And Gi-hun does it again when they're walking to the next game and see their dead friends hanging from the roof. God damn. Meanwhile, the officer tells Inho that the VIPs are here. Those dirtbags. Ugh. While the players head on to the next game, No-ul realizes that Kyung-seok needs a blood transfusion to stay alive. Since No-ul is a type O, she decides to give it herself. She's so heroic. Meanwhile, the players draw gumballs to split them into two different teams, red and blue. Hyun-ju, Mongi, Deho, Gwem-ja, and Seong-gi end up on the blue team, while Nam-gyu, Jun-hee, Young-shik, and Gi-hun end up on the red team. The game is then revealed. Hide and seek. But it's not regular hide and seek. Players on the blue team have keys that can open doors that will let them either find the exit and escape or hide from red team. And the red team gets knives. Great. They have to kill the blue team because of course they have to. In fact, anyone from the red team who doesn't have a kill will end up dead themselves. The guards then give everyone the choice to swap teams with another person if they want to, and Gi Gi-hun just looks at his knife before looking at Deho. Oh boy. Back with Jun-ho, he and the others are getting ready to set sail again when he gets a call. It's from Woo-seok. Turns out Woo-seok isn't going with them. He's gonna investigate the captain. Nice. We then see Woo-seok get in the car with an old partner before driving off. Meanwhile, it's a tense time for the players. While Sun Yao is doing her shaman bull for her followers, Nam-gyu goes up to Min-soo. Nam-gyu then mocks him, saying he should have saved Se-mi, and I agree.
Oh, poor Min-soo.
Meanwhile, Myung-gi tries to get Jun-hee to change teams with him, promising to protect her. But when Jun-hee refuses, Myung-gi does something crazy. He tells her to kill him. As he puts it, she's pregnant and can't really fight, so if she kills Myung-gi, she'll be safe. Meanwhile, Young-shik and Gwam-ja are discussing the same thing, but Young-shik knows he has to be the one with the knife. His mom is just too damn old to fight. A lot of players are looking to switch teams, including the old fart Jung-dae, who tries to swap with Gi-hun. But one look at him, and Jung-dae goes running. Meanwhile, Deho has had enough of Gi-hun giving him that look. He goes up to Gi-hun and says it's not his fault. Even with the ammo, they wouldn't have won. The guard separates them, but does nothing to ease the tension. It's then time for the blue team to go and hide. Before they go in, Jun-hee swaps places with Myung-gi, asking him to keep his promise to protect her. That's a lot of trust to put in someone so shitty. Anyway, with that, the blue team has 2 minutes to hide, but Jun-hee is really struggling, so Gwam-ja and Hyun-ju help her. Back outside, Myung-gi agrees to team up with Nam-gyu of all people, and the episode ends with Gi-hun just getting up and saying, "It's your fault," before walking into the game. Jeez. Deho better count his minutes. The next episode starts with the doctor saving Young-seok's life. Phew. And as soon as he serves his purpose, No-ul shoots him. She then puts her mask back on before Young-seok wakes up. When he does, she tells him she's trying to save his life. I hope she has better luck than Gi-hun. Meanwhile, the game begins, and the Reds have 30 minutes to find the Blues. They all start rummaging through doors and hallways looking for the Blues, while the Blues keep searching for the exit. Deho is doing his best to hide from Gi-hun, and Seon Yao is leading her followers through her shaman powers. As for Hyun-ju, she realizes 2 things. First, there are 3 types of keys that are required to open different locks, namely circle, triangle, and square. Second, she realizes that between her, Jun-hee, and Gwam-ja, they have all 3 keys. They can go anywhere. What a perfect team. As Inho watches on his screens, Gi-hun finally finds Deho. Gi-hun starts chasing the coward, but Deho escapes to a completely different floor. The look in Gi-hun's eyes says it all. He's gonna find Deho, and he's going to end him. While Young-shik struggles to find a kill, Hyun-ju and the girls keep moving. That's when Myung-gi and Nam-gyu corner a blue teamer, but Myung-gi doesn't trust Nam-gyu at all. Smart. So, he says they'll both kill the guy together, giving them each half a kill. Nam-gyu agrees, and they do it. When they leave, Min-soo pops out from the room next to them. He sees Thanos' chain with the pills in them. Nam-gyu dropped it in the struggle. And remembering all of Nam-gyu's taunts about Se-mi, Min-soo pops a pill. That was a bad idea. Back with the 3 girls. They're being chased by a Red when Jun-hee falls down the stairs. Oh no. The Red gives Hyun-ju the option to sacrifice either of her teammates, but Hyun-ju refuses and gets ready to fight. I love her so damn much. And even though she's barehanded against a guy with a weapon, she absolutely kicks his ass before stabbing him with his own knife. Meanwhile, Jung-dae runs into a Red and sacrifices his partner to survive before grabbing his key. He's a proper slime ball, this old fella. As that happens, Myung-gi and Nam-gyu complete their 2nd kill, making them both qualify. Jun-hee hears that Myung-gi qualified and is relieved. He's gonna come and protect them, and Myung-gi is doing just that. Until Nam-gyu gives him an idea. The more Blues they kill, the less Reds will pass, and the better the prize pot will be. And Myung-gi agrees. This greedy piece of Meanwhile, Gi-hun is on his Deho hunt, ignoring every other blue. Speaking of the scumbag, Deho is on the run from another Red, who cuts Deho's leg. Through dumb luck, he manages to take the Red out, and grabs hold of his knife. The idiot is armed now. Great. While that happens, Hyunju and the girls make it to a room, where Hyunju checks Junhee's ankle. It's broken. Gwemja and Junhee tell Hyunju she should just go on without them. They've already caused her too much trouble. And that's when Junhee's water breaks. Talk about timing, Jesus! Meanwhile, Young-shik tries to kill a blue, but ends up getting overpowered. He's about to get killed until a red shows up and kills the blue, saving Young-shik. The red also steps on Young-shik's glasses. He's as good as blind now, poor guy. Meanwhile, Gwemja is trying to get Junhee through childbirth, while Hyunju keeps guard. As that happens, Seon-Yao leads her followers right into the knives of Myung-gi and Nam-gyu. Lol. I should not laugh at this, but seriously, look. Seon-Yao then makes a run for it and bumps into Deho along the way. She tries to escape, only to find Gi-hun. Gi-hun is about to kill her until she tells him where Deho is headed. So, Gi-hun follows the blood, stalking his prey. Yikes. This episode is filled with adrenaline. Anyway, Seon-Yao then runs into a dazed and hallucinating Min-soo. He's looking for Se-mi. Stay away from drugs, kids. So, she runs away from him, and accidentally runs into the exit. She then tries to open the door, only to realize you need all 3 shape keys to do that. With 10 minutes left, Young-shik and his broken glasses are still looking for someone to kill. Meanwhile, Seon-Yao heads out searching for keys and marks her path as she goes. We then see Jung-dae, who is about to get caught by Myung-gi and Nam-gyu, but the old fart manages to smear himself with blood and play dead, and it works. This was genius. He then runs into Seon-Yao, who tells him about the exit, so they start heading there. Meanwhile, Junhee successfully gives birth to a baby girl. It's a miracle, but the miracle is cut short when a red barges in. Hyunju steps up and starts fighting him, but she gets injured in the process. The fight goes into the other room, where Hyunju takes the red out. Another red sees her kicking his ass and just gives up. She's the best. That's when Hyunju realizes it. She's in the exit room, and she has all 3 keys as well, because her girly pop teammates trusted her with safekeeping all 3 keys. She's about to step outside the maze, but she decides to tell her friends first. She would rather cross the exit with her entire team. Aww. Hyunju then goes back to the room where her teammates are to tell them that she found the exit.
I found the exit. We can all get out of here now. Come on.
Unfortunately, though, that's when Hyunju gets stabbed in the back by none other than Myung-gi. Myung-gi, who I hate so much right now, then sees Junhee with the baby and realizes what he's done. He manages to steer Nam-gyu away, leaving Gwemja and Junhee to mourn their awesome, awesome friend. Back with Gi-hun, he's done it. He's finally tracked Deho down. Meanwhile, Gwemja takes the keys from Hyunju and tells Junhee to go move on. They need to find the exit. Back with Seon-Yao and Jung-dae, they combine their keys to open the exit, and Seon-Yao is relieved, only for Jung-dae to push her aside, steal one of the keys, and lock her out. And wouldn't you know it, Min-soo shows up behind her, asking about Se-mi again. She kinda deserves this. But this old fart keeps surviving against all odds, which is so annoying. Back with Gi-hun, Deho begs for mercy. He admits to lying about serving in the Marines, and apologizes for being a fraud. Deho tries his best to apologize and begs to be spared, before taking out his own knife and fighting back. As Gwemja and Junhee make their way to the exit, Min-soo confronts Seon-Yao, asking about Se-mi. But Seon-Yao starts insulting Min-soo, and he starts seeing Nam-gyu instead. So, Min-soo stabs Seon-Yao. But before dropping to the floor, Min-soo starts seeing her as Se-mi. So, Min-soo passed the game, but it looks like he lost his mind in the process. Yeesh. Meanwhile, Gwemja and Junhee open the exit and are about to leave, when Young-shik shows up behind them. Oh boy. Meanwhile, Deho has Gi-hun cornered, and flips the script on him. He says it's Gi-hun's fault that they all died, saying he probably killed them all so he could win the game. They start fighting again, and Gi-hun disarms him, so Deho makes a run for it. Meanwhile, Young-shik asks his mom to let him kill Junhee. He has no other choice. So, Gwemja tells Young-shik to kill her instead. She's lived long enough anyway. Oh my god. Back with Gi-hun, he finally corners Deho, for good this time. They get into one last fight, and Gi-hun starts choking Deho Deho. As life leaves him, Deho says 3 words. It's your fault. And just like that, Gi-hun has his revenge, but not really. Back with Young-shik, he refuses to stab his own mom, so he pushes her aside to get to Jun-hee, but hesitates when he sees the baby. Gwem-ja uses this chance to stab her own son in the back. There was no other way to save Jun-hee. Gwem-ja and Young-shik then get on their knees and hug, apologizing to each other. As time expires, we see Gi-hun sitting next to Deho, and Gi-hun finally accepts it. It's his own fault. He then tries to kill himself, only for the guards to stop him, and Gwem-ja can do nothing, as the guards surround them and gun down Young-shik. Jeez. How much more do these people have to suffer? Episode 3 starts with the bodies of the dead players being transported away. Meanwhile, one of the guards gets attacked by a red, and another one has to save him. Turns out, these are the VIPs. They came to watch the game, but Inho is letting them get a taste of how it feels to be inside too. Rich weirdos. Meanwhile, Mongi is in the warehouse, waiting for Jun-hee to show up. Nam-gyu, on the other hand, is looking for the chain with pills in it. He tries to go back and look for it, but the guards refuse. And he has no idea that Min-soo has it. Junkie scum. That's when Jun-hee and Gwem-ja show up with the baby, shocking everyone. While No-ul is doing her best to keep Young-seok alive, Jun-hee starts feeding her baby. Childbirth really is incredible. That's when the guards show up and announce the results. 35 more dead, which makes it 1.72 billion won per person. The vote is up next. Surely that's enough to quit? Meanwhile, the VIPs talk about how fun being in the game was and make a toast to the memory of the OG one. Screw you guys. That's when the officer gets radioed by one of his men. They've lost contact with the operating room. He tells his men to investigate. Meanwhile, No-ul is still leading Young-seok through the place. Back with Jun-ho, he gets a call from Woo-seok. Woo-seok has been doing some digging and he's found out some stuff. While there's nothing incriminating about the captain, there's a bunch of weird stuff. For one, no one really knows him on the port, even though he claims to have been there for years. Jun-ho says that proves nothing, so Woo-seok says he'll keep investigating. Back with the VIPs, they watch as the voting begins. The O's seriously outmatch the X's, but things look bright when Nam-gyu presses X. Bro doesn't want to play without his dogs. Unfortunately, later we see Min-soo joining the O's, and they just keep on coming. Gwem-ja presses X before falling on her knees and begging them to stop. And Gwem-ja isn't begging for herself, she's begging for Jun-hee. But no one listens to her, and the O's keep piling up. This show really shows the darkest side of humanity, and it's becoming depressing to me now. Anyway, while that's happening, the officer's men investigate the operating room and realize everyone is dead, except number 16. Turns out, Young-seok is disguised as number 16 and is headed to his room. Meanwhile, No-ul makes her way inside the building's vent. Back with the players, as the vote concludes, Jun-hee just looks at Mongi with eyes full of hatred, and I don't blame her. Meanwhile, the officer starts investigating what's happened, and he's particularly interested in number 11 and number 16, aka Young-seok and No-ul. While that happens, Jun-ho and the others make it to an island Jun-ho finds familiar. Finally! Back with the players, Gwem-ja comforts Jun-hee, who blames herself for Young-shik's death. But Gwem-ja just tells her to focus on the baby. That's all that matters now. Is she the nicest old lady of all time, or what? Meanwhile, the officer goes to his room and demands to see number 16 and number 11, only for number 11 to pull a gun on her. No-ul entered his room through the vents, and her demand is simple. The officer gets them a boat and puts them on outside patrol so they can escape. Let's go. Back with Jun-ho, he realizes why the island looks so familiar to him. It's the one where his brother shot him. Standing there with the memories flooding back to him, Jun-ho radios in his finding, saying the island is close by, they just have to find it. Can't believe these people have been sailing all through season 2 and 3. Meanwhile, after taking care of Jun-hee and her baby and putting them to sleep, Gwem-ja makes her way to Gi-hun. She tries comforting him, before confessing that she ended up killing Young-shik with her own hands. She then begs Gi-hun, literally begs him, to help Jun-hee and the baby survive. Sure, everyone here may be a bad person, but the baby is innocent. Even Gi-hun's depression can't turn down a request like that.
Save Jun-hee and the baby, sir.
I'm begging you.
We then cut to Woo-seok, who, after running out of ideas, has decided to choose drastic measures. He's breaking into the captain's house. After narrowly dodging the captain's very big and very scary dog, Woo-seok makes his way inside. Meanwhile, No-ul wakes up and has the key to her escape boat hidden in her breakfast. Her plan is going smoothly until the officer asks his men to check the operation room again. Back with the players, they wake up to a horrific sight. Gweom-ja has hung herself. I've had enough of good people dying. Jun-hee can do nothing but cry, while Gi-hun thinks about the old lady's final request. Meanwhile, the officer finds out that Young-seok is a player disguised as a guard. He's in big trouble. As that happens, Woo-seok goes through the captain's stuff, but can't find anything incriminating until he stumbles upon a picture of the captain with the freaking recruiter of all people. Woo-seok instantly bags it, but turns around to see that the dog is loose and after him. The dog jumps on Woo-seok and bites him, with Woo-seok trying to fight back, but with no other option, he pulls out his gun and shoots the mutt. Damn. While Jun-hee decides to take her baby with her to the next game, Woo-seok discovers even more proof, a hole full of money and one of the pink guard suits. Unfortunately, soon after, the police shows up, and Woo-seok's ass is going to jail. God damn it. Meanwhile, Gi-hun finally decides to help a struggling Jun-hee, taking the baby from her. Back with the VIPs, they ask what the next game is, and Inho reveals a large bridge with 2 dolls on either side. Uh-oh, you know it's bad news when it's a doll. Back with Gi-hun, Jun-hee blames herself for the death of her friends, but Gi-hun helps her pull it together. Everyone is where they are because of their own choices. Maybe he needs to hear his own advice as well. Meanwhile, the VIPs have a brilliant idea. Make Jun-hee's baby a player too, to quote, up the stakes. How twisted and evil can these rich bastards be? Back with the players, they're introduced to the game, jump rope. They have to cross the bridge in 20 minutes, with the rope swinging constantly. Everyone who fails to do so will be killed. Gi-hun tells Jun-hee to leave the baby and come back for her later, but the guard says the baby is a player too. Gi-hun tries arguing, but is greeted with a gun to his face. They have no choice, and the VIPs love it. With the time ticking away, no one has the guts to get on the bridge. That's when Min-soo has a plan. He uses Thanos' chain to lure Nam-gyu to the bridge, before throwing it onto the bridge. Nam-gyu goes after it, and survives long enough to pick it up, and see that it's empty. With that, the rope hits his legs, and he falls 100 feet to his doom. Good freaking riddance. That's when Jun-hee asks Gi-hun to take her baby across the bridge, and Gi-hun agrees. But it's not just the baby. Gi-hun says he'll be back for Jun-hee too. Her legs are seriously fried, and she cannot jump ropes without help. With that, Gi-hun wraps the baby around himself and begins crossing the bridge. In the most gut-wrenching, heartbeat-stopping minute ever, Gi-hun manages to make it across the bridge and gets the baby to safety. Even the VIPs are impressed. What a hero. Gi-hun then tells Jun-hee to wait. He's gonna come back. Meanwhile, a bunch of other players start making it across the bridge, the first of which is player 96. But as soon as he gets to the other side, the bastard pushes the next person off the bridge. Gi-hun asks what he's doing, and player 96 answers with a smile. He's playing the game. The next episode sees player 96 continuing his mission of pushing every person that comes through the bridge. His plan is simple. He pushes everyone off, Gi-hun and he both press X in the next vote, and they both split the money. This puts the fear of God into Jung-dae, who's hopping on the bridge with no end in sight. Meanwhile, one of the players tries going back, only for another rascal on the other side to push her off. These O's are freaking disgusting. Gi-hun then tells player 96 to back off and starts helping everyone across, including Jung-dae. With just over 7 minutes left, Gi-hun starts thinking about how to bring Jun-hee and her bum ankle across. Meanwhile, Myung-gi tries to apologize for Hyun-ju, saying he didn't know she was with Jun-hee, but Jun-hee doesn't forgive him, not even close. Jun-hee says that she and her baby don't even want to see trash like Myung-gi in their dreams, and tells him to permanently piss off. Oh, now he wants to cry? Meanwhile, player 96 attacks Gi-hun from behind, trying to push him off the bridge. After a scuffle, Gi-hun just shoves his finger in 96's eye. The rope then smacks player 96, setting him falling down. Meanwhile, Min-soo is making his way across the bridge, and he's high off Thanos' last pill. Myung-gi follows him, and leaves another player to die on his way there. Gi-hun is about to go back for Jun-hee, but she refuses.
If you don't survive, my baby will die too.
If Gi-hun dies, there's no one to look after her baby. Mongi, the freaking dad of the baby, is right there. Ouch. With that, Jun-hee leaves her baby's safety to Gi-hun and jumps off. With Jun-hee gone, Gi-hun is in disbelief. He has lost every single friend he made here. I don't even know what to say. Meanwhile, No-ul and Young-seok are making their way to the edge of the island, where a boat is waiting for them to ride off in, but the officer is watching them through the cameras and sends the pursuit team after them. Oh no. Meanwhile, the VIPs discuss how much fun the last game was. They then ask the burning question, what to do with the baby. One of them says they should kill it, but the others say it's a player in the game. Inho takes it a step further. He says the baby will inherit Jun-hee's number and money. This scheming bastard. Back with the players, two of them are talking. They do the math, and the prize money is at 5.6 billion, with 8 players left. Other than Jung-dae, whose debt is over 10 billion, pretty much everyone thinks that's enough money. So they decide to quit the game, until the guards reveal that the baby is the new player 222, and their prize money is actually 4.9 billion each. The other players start crashing out, asking how the hell a freaking baby could take their money. I agree, the baby should not be a player. However, I do not agree with the conclusion they draw from this situation. They want to take out the baby. Luckily, the guards stop them before they can do anything. They then announce that everyone here has made it to the final game. It's tuxedo time. Meanwhile, Woo-seok and his friend are at the police station, under arrest and answering questions. Woo-seok is begging the officer to listen to him, but look at it from the policeman's side. You catch a guy breaking into a house, and he blames it on an international torture tournament based on kids' games. Nobody would believe that, and the police officer certainly doesn't. When he does look into the captain's record, all he sees is one illegal gambling charge from 10 years ago. That's it. Speaking of the captain, he sees that Jun-ho has gotten really close to finding the island. He's looking at the map that it's on. So he starts conning them again, saying the island is definitely not where it actually is, and sending them on another wild goose chase. Yep, this Dora the Explorer spent 2 entire seasons being duped by this guy. We might need to reassess how cool we think he is. Back at the police station, they decide to call the captain and tell him about the robbery at his house, as well as the death of his dog. Seeing this, Woo-seok demands his phone. He needs to speak to his lawyer, while the policeman calls the captain and tells him everything about the break-in, how Woo-seok did it, and the conspiracy about the island and the games. The captain thanks them and has a small conversation with Jun-ho before heading off to his radio. And that's when Woo-seok steals his phone from the police and calls Jun-ho. He tells Jun-ho about the captain not being on their side before the police capture him again. Woo-seok is actually so freaking cool. Meanwhile, the captain tells his partner on the second boat to kill all of Kim's men on his ship. They've been discovered. The captain then pulls out his own gun and starts shooting Kim and all his men.
Want some noodles?
Hey, you want some soup? Grab another.
As he's about to gun down the injured Kim, the captain asks where Jun-ho is. Turns out, he's right behind the captain and shoots a harpoon right into his chest. Ouch. Now inches from death, we learn the truth. The captain rescued Jun-ho all those years ago on Inho's orders and has been doing whatever he can to keep him alive since then. The captain then dies without telling Jun-ho where the island is. And with just 1 day left in the games, I think he might have accomplished his goals. Meanwhile, the finalists are being treated to the usual tuxedo dinner, and everyone is feasting up, except Min-soo, who apparently turned into an addict from like 3 pills. Even the baby gets a perfect temperature feeder. While all the contestants eat, the VIPs are worried. Surely the players will still choose to quit the game. But Inho assures them they'll play. He has a plan. That's when the guards show up in front of the players and give them a hint for the next game. All they say is that the players get to choose which 3 players to eliminate. The other 6 win the game. This sparks confusion and uproar, which leads to everyone but Min-soo and Gi-hun voting to continue the game. And so the baby is gonna compete in the final round. Talk about evil. Meanwhile, Jun-ho is treating Kim's wound, who suggests they give up now. But that's when it hits Jun-ho. If the captain was against them all along, then the island is wherever the hell he told them it's not. Genius. Back with No-ul, she and Young-seok are making their escape until the officer radios in and threatens them with little Na-yeon's life, who's Gang-seok's daughter. Why are these people so eager to kill children? No-ul has no choice but to turn turn around the boat. Meanwhile, Ja-dyung, Myung-gi, and the other players decide who they're gonna eliminate. Gi-hun, Min-soo, and the baby. Real classy. Back with No-ul, she tells Kyung-seok to head back and call the police. His daughter is in danger. She then makes her way back to the island as the officer gives the order to have them both killed. Oh god. Back with the players, everyone but Gi-hun is sleeping. That's when a guard comes up to him and tells him that the front man wants to see him. Gi-hun goes to meet the front man. There, the front man gives Gi-hun an out. He passes him a knife, and the plan is simple. Gi-hun kills every player except himself and the baby. The last game can't be played between two players, so they will both make it out safely. Gi-hun asks why he's doing this, so Inho takes off his mask and reveals his identity. Gi-hun is destroyed. He couldn't even imagine this betrayal. Inho says Gi-hun can go ahead and kill him. Someone else will just take his place, and the games will continue. But if Gi-hun listens to him, Inho promises he'll make it out alive with the baby. With no other choice, Gi-hun takes the knife and leaves. But before he goes, Inho asks him if he still believes in humanity, and Gi-hun's face tells us the answer. A big, resounding no. The next episode starts with No-ul sneaking into the island through the vents. Meanwhile, Inho watches as Gi-hun takes his knife and heads over to a sleeping Jung-dae. While watching, Inho has a flashback of when he played the game, and how the original runner of the game, Il-nam, gave him the same choice. Inho decided to go through with it, and he killed his opponents. But as Gi-hun stands there, with no one to stop him, he remembers Se-byuk stopping him from killing Sang-woo, and he just can't do it. Gi-hun gives up and goes back to his bed, as Inho watches in disbelief. Wow. While No-ul makes her way through the vents, Kyung-seok makes his escape, but his wound is bleeding. Uh-oh. Meanwhile, Jun-ho and Kim are on a two-man mission to find the island. That's when Inho calls Jun-ho's boat and says he needs to stop. Inho says his brother is going to die if he keeps looking for the island. Jun-ho just tells his brother to kill him then. Cold. Back with the players, they wake up safe and sound and start getting escorted to the next game. Meanwhile, No-ul corners the officer and makes him delete all the records about Kyung-seok. No-ul's about to kill him too, when the officer says there's still a hard copy in the front man's records, and she can't get there without him. As the players make their way to the next game, the officer leads No-ul to the front man's floor. However, he takes away her gun and the two start fighting. The fight takes them to the corridor, while No-ul's gun is still in the elevator. Meanwhile, the players learn what their next game is going to be. Squid Game. That sounds awful. Back with No-ul, she puts up her best fight but gets overpowered. Now defeated, the officer stabs her before pouring himself a drink and lighting a cigar. Yeah, this unnecessary show-off is gonna cost you, buddy. No-ul explains why she was protecting Kyung-seok for the sake of his daughter. She knows what it's like to lose a child. But while the officer sympathizes, he says she went too far, so he's gonna end her. No-ul starts making her way to the elevator while the officer laughs. What is she even gonna do? But when the elevator opens, he sees the gun. The officer tries running towards her, but it's too late. No-ul grabs the gun and sprays him. That's one less evil prick to worry about. Back with the players, we learn the rules of Squid Game. There are 3 rounds played on different shapes. In each round, at least one person needs to be pushed off for them to proceed to the next, so at least 3 people have to die. While everyone else discusses the game, Min-soo is hallucinating about Thanos and Nam-gyu, so he starts tweaking. He is so finished. With that, Jung-dae presses the timer on the floor to start the game. The 6 evil rascals start voting on who to take out first. At first, they decide to take the baby out. It seems like the easiest decision, but Myung-gi interjects. He says that Gi-hun is going to do everything he can to save the baby, so they should take out the easier target first, Min-soo. They vote on it, and all 6 agree. Unfortunately, what they don't know is who's gonna push him off, because Min-soo has turned super aggressive at the chance of being pushed off, and nobody wants to risk doing it and falling down themselves.
Forgive me, I was just so scared.
Man, the VIPs are loving every second of this mess. That's when Myung-gi realizes that the pole in the ground is removable, so he takes it out and tells everyone to get out of the way. Meanwhile, Min-soo starts hallucinating Se-mi, and as he reaches out his hand to her, Myung-gi pushes him off with the pole. The first round is over. While that happens, No-ul looks for the player records, as the pursuit team is chasing Kyung-seok. We then see the players move on to the second round, where everyone decides to eliminate the baby, but Gi-hun is not backing off. He refuses to hand the baby over. One of the men comes over with the pole and threatens to push both Gi-hun and the baby baby off. Gi-hun tells him to do it, but if he does, they'll need to eliminate someone amongst themselves for the final round. And it could be the guy holding the pole himself. He may be playing mind games, but he is right. So the guy backs off and says they should think about it again. This almost makes the 6 pricks start fighting each other, until Myung-gi comes up with a plan. Back with No-ul, she finally finds Kyung-seok's record in a hard copy. She can destroy it now. Meanwhile, the pursuit team finally catches up to Kyung-seok and takes out his boat's engine. He manages to take one of them out, but he runs out of ammo. He's about to be shot down when Kim and Jun-ho show up to save him. Let's go. They actually did something useful. Back with the players, and they've tied their jackets, making a rope. They then all grab onto it so they don't fall, and the man at the front tries to lure Gi-hun away from the baby. He does this by telling Gi-hun they're gonna draw lots. So Gi-hun agrees and asks them to give him the lots. Unfortunately, that was a bunch of nonsense, and the man grabs Gi-hun. The others start using the rope to pull him in, so Gi-hun uses his knife to cut the rope. Now, Gi-hun has the man on the edge, and that's when Myung-gi decides to push his fellow Democrat off the edge. So much for their democratic process. That's when Myung-gi tells everyone the truth. He's the baby's father. It's a shock to everyone, including the VIPs, who are eating it all up. With the pole and the knife, Myung-gi and Gi-hun now have the advantage. So, the Democrats come up with a new solution. They start beating up their weakest member. They beat him to a bloody pulp and break his leg. That way, they can throw him off the next round, and the rest of them can make it out with 7.6 billion apiece. Talk about ruthless though, Jesus. But Gi-hun disagrees. This isn't fair. He says they should actually draw lots.
This isn't the right way.
What the hell do you suggest?
The bad guys have had enough of his and they start fighting. One of them takes on Gi-hun, while the other fights Myung-gi, as Jung-dae watches from the sidelines like the little he is. Gi-hun kills his attacker, and Myung-gi pushes his opponent off, leaving 5 players. Jung-dae tries reasoning with them, saying that they'll just push the guy with the broken leg off in the next round, and they'll get 11.4 billion each. But Myung-gi says they'll get 15.6 billion with this old ass dead, and pushes Jung-dae off. Bye-bye, you old evil fart. Phew. But as it turns out, that was the wrong decision, because the injured guy just decides he's not gonna be their sacrifice, and jumps off himself. So now, the only players left are Myung-gi, Gi-hun, and the baby, and one of them has to die. The last episode of the last season starts with Kyung-seok telling Jun-ho and Kim where the island is. Meanwhile, the game progresses. So Gi-hun ties the baby and wraps it around himself, only to find Myung-gi standing there with a pole. He tells Gi-hun to hand the baby over and stay on the other side of the bridge. Gi-hun says that doing that means he'll have to kill the baby or himself, and Myung-gi is aware of that. Gi-hun refuses to back down, and so does Myung-gi. And there are about 3 minutes until the bridge breaks. While No-ul burns Kyung-seok's records, she then sees her own records just sitting there. Meanwhile, Inho gets informed about a ship approaching the island. Back on the ship, Kim patches up Kyung-seok, while Jun-ho gets ready to infiltrate the island alone. He has to do this. I just hope it goes better than last time. While Gi-hun and Myung-gi's standoff continues, Jun-ho is making his way to the island, and No-ul is reading her own file. Gi-hun eventually hands the baby over, but as the bridge closes, he grabs his knife and jumps over to the next shape. He's still in it. Meanwhile, No-ul learns the truth about her daughter from her file. She's already dead. Jesus Christ. As the room burns, and as her wounds bleed out, No-ul finally has a moment of closure. She can die in peace, knowing that at least she was able to save someone else's daughter. Meanwhile, Gi-hun and Myung-gi start fighting. Eventually, Gi-hun gets the better of Myung-gi, so Myung-gi goes no holds barred and threatens to drop his own freaking baby. Gi-hun hands over his knife, and Myung-gi uses it to come at him again. The fight pushes them both over the edge, with Gi-hun barely managing to hang on. Myung-gi is hanging on by his jacket, and Gi-hun tries pulling him up, but it's useless. The jacket rips, and Myung-gi falls to his death. That was hard to watch. Gi-hun then gets back up, only to come to a shocking realization. Nobody pressed the freaking timer button on the freaking floor, so the round didn't even start. Oh no. Please, God, no. Meanwhile, the Coast Guard shows up for Kim and Kyung-seok, as the guards watch from afar with their drone. Back with No-ul, she puts her gun to her face, ready to end her own life, just as Jun-ho assembles his gun and is ready to shoot his way in. The VIPs all expect Gi-hun to chuck the baby away and win for a second time, but he refuses. Instead, he puts the baby down and walks over to the edge. Before he goes, Gi-hun says that humans aren't horses for these evil sickos to bet on. Humans are, and, well, he leaves the rest of that sentence for us as a fill-in-the-blank question.
And humans are...
He then falls to his death, and the baby wins the Squid Game. This wipes the smile off of all the VIPs' faces. Our MC made sure they could not enjoy the game at all. Even the frontman looks depressed as Gi-hun dies, and seeing this, even No-ul decides against ending her own life. Maybe life is not entirely filled with scumbags after all. Inho has a mask on, but you can see the sadness even through it. In the end, even the frontman has to accept that humanity is not all trash. Gi-hun wasn't the trash that they thought he was. He wasn't a freaking horse. He was a human being who wanted to believe in the goodness of humanity until the end. Damn, this is such an OP ending. With the Coast Guard approaching, Inho orders an immediate evacuation. He then starts a countdown of 30 minutes. The island is covered with bombs that will blow up when the timer hits 0. Jun-ho sees this, but keeps moving forward. Meanwhile, Inho makes his way over to Gi-hun's body and looks at him. His lab rat, his nemesis, and his friend, gone forever. As Jun-ho makes his way to the VIP lounge, Inho goes up to the baby and picks it up. That's when Jun-ho finally finds his brother. He points a gun at Inho and tells him to stop, but Inho won't stop, and Jun-ho can't shoot his own brother, so Jun-ho just asks him one question. Why? Why did he do all of this? Inho just disappears without an answer, and Jun-ho can't do anything about it. God damn it! With that, No-ul escapes with the other guards as the timer hits 0, and the island goes kaboom. Jun-ho manages to make it out safely, but that's all he did. He didn't save Gi-hun, and he didn't stop Inho. He failed completely. Meanwhile, we see someone break into Gi-hun's motel, where he's hiding all his money. Who could that even be? Anyway, 6 months pass, and No-ul is getting her portrait made by Young-seok. He doesn't know she's the one who saved him, and she's okay with that. That's when Na-yeon shows up. She's healthy again. Turns out, everyone at the park chipped in to help, and she got the treatment she needed. No-ul gives her a lollipop before leaving. She didn't even take her portrait. She then gets a call as she's leaving. It's from the broker. They think they found her daughter in China. I freaking hope so. Meanwhile, Woo-seok finally gets out of jail, and Jun-ho is waiting for him with his friend. While they leave, Woo-seok and Jun-ho discuss what to do next. Woo-seok wants to go into money lending again, but they have no money. Someone took all of Gi-hun's stash, and they have no idea who it was. Jun-ho then gets home to find Jun-hee's baby sitting there. What's more, she has a little envelope on her. Jun-ho opens it to find an ATM card. So he goes to the bank to check it, and sure enough, it has 45.6 billion won inside it. Meanwhile, we finally see someone get a happy ending. Sae-byuk's mom finally makes it to South Korea and is reunited with her son, Jul. She cries as she sees how big he's grown and just hugs him. Meanwhile, No-ul is boarding a flight to China. She's going to take a chance and see if her daughter is really alive. Back with Woo-seok, he and his friend go to Gi-hun's motel.
We're gonna fix this place up. It'll be fancier than a hotel on the Las Vegas Strip.
And decide to renovate the place and run it. There, Woo-seok's friend just asks who could have taken Gi-hun's money, and Woo-seok is wondering the same damn thing. We then cut to Los Angeles, California? Huh? There, a car pulls outside a house, and a man rings the doorbell. Turns out the person answering the doorbell is Ga-young, Gi-hun's daughter, and the man at the door is Inho. He's holding a box and says it's from her dad. Ga-young says she doesn't want it. She's been pretending her dad doesn't exist, and she won't change that now. But when Inho says Gi-hun is dead, she changes her mind. The poor girl grabs the box and Inho leaves. She opens it to find Gi-hun's uniform from the game and an ATM card with all the money in it. Damn you, Inho. Gi-hun literally changed your mind about humanity, huh? As Inho leaves, he sees a woman playing dakji with a poor man in a street. So these games happen worldwide, huh? That's too damn brutal. And that was our recap of Squid Games. Phew, that was depressing. I know the show received a lot of mixed reviews, especially the ending, but I loved it because it shows us that even a little bit of goodness can cause such a big ripple effect. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed watching this recap, and if you did, be sure to subscribe because this is just the beginning. There's a lot of K-dramas out there, and we're about to dig in. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.